Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer. It's Happer and Mike.
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Tuesday. It is Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. I am Connor Happer alongside Mike Schaefer, Joey Warcola. Morning, guys.
Good morning, Connor. Good morning, Mike. And good morning, something.
You don't have to come up with anything. You've backed yourself
Joey
into this
created
corner.
this routine,
Yeah.
and now he has to try to fulfill it.
He
And
ran out of options after like 4 days.
I know. I was curious where it was going to go after we got
Good morning.
Shane and
Good morning, Lamp. I love Lamp. Good morning, Coca-Cola machine.
it basically was going to be that. Good morning, people that have to go to jury duty because I do not.
That's true. That is true.
All right. Well, good morning, Joey. Good morning, Connor.
Hi,
good
everybody.
morning, Omaha.
Hi, everybody. Maybe today it won't be 9,000 degrees. Yesterday was the rare day. There's like 3 of these a summer where I'm like, all right, I've had enough. I'm good.
So
This is too much. I would rather, like, that's when you really start thinking to yourself, would I rather like it cold than this? And the answer truly is no. But a day like yesterday puts you in a very different mindset.
yeah,
For me, anyway.
I never know how to answer that question. It really just sort of depends on what I have going on. Like, so yesterday, for instance, I left the station.
Yes.
And because of circumstances, never left my house again. Like I was never outside
That's good.
after the walk from the state. I nearly knocked Joey over leaving the door, leaving out. He was
he was
just by
outside
the side of
figuring
the
out
door.
the cat
'Cause he was-
situation.
there was a cat situation
Yes,
yesterday,
there
which
was.
was significantly worse than
Yes.
I realized when we were discussing.
Yeah, it was pretty
the
bad.
kitten earlier.
Yeah, some guy just left the cat.
Or lady, who knows?
That
That
was
is
a guy.
messed up.
No, it was
Oh.
a lady.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it was a lady.
We were able to get surveillance.
That is messed up,
And
bro.
it
You can't
happened-
just go around leaving cats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
places.
it's not like back, a decade plus ago where you could just drop your kid off at a fire station after Nebraska passed some legislation
Yeah.
and people from multiple other states drove their children, dropped them off here. It's not like that. This is much worse.
So outside.
Yeah. I never went outside yesterday, so I don't know how bad it was.
Okay.
Like I basically just had to stay inside with a sick child.
That's a good
all
move.
afternoon.
It's a good
Well,
move.
I mean, I would have preferred different circumstances, but I wasn't unhappy about never going outside.
It was
I'll tell you that
bad.
much.
I didn't. I spent various walks from my car to buildings and things of that nature, and it just was not good.
Was the sweat index high yesterday?
Yeah. I mean, really, you couldn't be out there for more than like I don't know. I'm sure there was a lot of folks who are listening to this who were like, I was outside all day. Like, what's the problem? I don't know.
Were you around water?
I ain't built for it. I am definitely not built for it.
No, I am not built for extreme heat. I'm definitely built for extreme cold, but I don't necessarily like it any more than the extreme heat.
So today we break a little bit. We come down to just like the mid 80s or something.
That seems
like that.
nice.
Yeah,
and then-
I will
then-
go outside today.
And then we super break tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah, the next 2 days after today,
Love it.
it'll be in the mid 70s, and then it'll get hot again.
I love it.
Shout out Golf League on Wednesday.
Shout out Golf League on Wednesday if you get it. I think there's some weather attached to this.
Oh,
but,
no.
yeah, shout out to Golf League on Wednesday for Mike Schaefer.
I
Should
only
be
have like
exciting for you.
2 more weeks left. I don't want to lose one of them.
You need to get those in. You need to get those rounds in. Coming up today on the show, we will talk to our regular Tuesday guests. Mitch Sherman from The Athletic will join us, and Jacob Padilla from Hernet Sports will join us at 9:15. Mitch is at 8:30, by the way. So those are our guests today, along with our variety of different things that we do on Tuesdays, like power rankings with tiers. Today, teams I'd least like to see win a championship.
What teams are we talking about?
Teams that
All the teams.
Oh, all the
us
teams.
personally would like to see
This-
never win a championship.
This extended for me saying it as it related to England, which is on this list for me. So
Yeah.
nice.
Nice.
I went a lot of places.
I didn't include any colleges.
I have
I
a
probably should have
college
included
on my
college.
first tier.
Okay.
I think you can guess what it is.
Who does Schaefer hate the most?
Well, I know the Packers are on the list.
You can guess their position.
Oh, it's
pretty
Michigan.
easy. They're second tier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Michigan would definitely be on my list, but I didn't do it. Maybe I'll sneak some
I
college.
mean,
teams in
I
there.
can remove them. I don't have that many.
No, I think I need to add a couple in.
Okay.
So I'll do that.
Yeah, I texted you last night after we decided to do this. I have a lot of hate in my heart for a lot of teams.
Oh, it's easy.
It is. I've never understood people who are like,
Some teams make it easy
I
on
want
you.
anybody. Everybody should have a good time. No, many of these teams should never have a good time again.
Some teams make it really easy on you, and we'll discuss those coming up at about 7:25 today. There will be a slight change to our balls of steel today.
Ooh.
We have received in the mail by order of Mike J. Schaefer from our dear friend Brett Ciancia at Pick Six Previews our copy of Pick Six Previews 2026.
Hooray!
The most accurate. What does he say? The most accurate thing ever. The most accurate Power 4 preview since 2012.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely related to the Power Four.
Ooh, look at that
separates
right there. Very good. So
I'm fired up.
this,
Beautiful.
I assume, is a little bit more digestible.
I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Well, actually, I do know. It is 100% more digestible because it is not in Phil Steeleisms. And my guess is every section won't start with a prediction that got right at some point in the last 12 years. That was some incredible English.
Now, curious question: since we already previewed teams from Phil Steele's book, are we going to preview those same teams if we eventually fall on them
No.
in this book?
No,
Okay.
Those teams are out.
Those teams are
Because I think you have a running list, right?
Yes, I got
Okay.
a running list. I just want to make sure.
Just
What we
our
could
page
do-
numbers are rendered obsolete.
yes.
Is during one of the breaks when I accomplish absolutely nothing, we could go through and I could tell you what the page numbers are of the teams. So then we just already know immediately.
That sounds fun. How many teams have we done now? Probably like 20, 15, 20?
Probably about 20. I got to
Yeah.
count.
No.
Yeah.
We're moving. College football is almost here. And as exemplified by the fact that SEC Media Days were yesterday and coaches said stuff.
Oh,
21.
21.
It is going to be a week of saying dumb.
I
stuff.
know. It's amazing. And yet we do the same
Throwing
thing every
tantrums.
year. We can't stop ourselves. We rile ourselves up about this crap. And this is exactly what they want you to do.
I know. They're very good at it. They're good. You know
you
the
think-
bit.
do
You
you-
know the game, and yet you still allow yourself to be annoyed by it.
We'll talk about this in a little bit after we fire up the show here. But do you think Eli Drinkwitz is paid a stipend by the SEC to say stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, hey, we need someone to come out and say the dumbest imaginable
Yeah.
thing.
Like if they
And-
paid you another 30 grand a year to just say some crazy stuff every once in a while, would you take it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be an idiot spokesman for 30 grand a year. I could trust me, I could use the money.
You're an idiot. He makes probably like $5-6 million or something.
Well,
like that.
yeah, that's probably not enough money.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? I mean, he might need it to pay for something. So
Yeah, I mean, who couldn't use $30,000?
I think anybody can use 30,000.
I think so too. He could use it out golfing if he wants.
At what level do you not need $30,000? That seems like you're too rich for me.
Absolutely. I don't want to talk to you.
Everybody needs 30.
If you're saying no to $30,000, I don't really want to hang out with you that much
Yeah.
because we're just in a different. We won't be speaking
especially
the
for
same language.
something that's like, okay, you say a few dumb things, people move on from it, right? I mean,
Exactly.
nobody's gonna remember this in 3 weeks
Nobody will remember
because
this in
there's a
48
version
hours.
of this literally every 7 weeks now
You got
because
it.
we have 15 different media days
You got it.
across the off season.
Which is great. I
The
can't
off
wait.
season's too damn long.
I can't wait to talk about this in a couple minutes with SEC Media Days. And we're bringing back free balling. We'll have accountability. And then a variety of other topics today. We didn't get to our vibe check topic yesterday. You're going to have to stick along with me on that ride a little bit. Maybe a look at a couple position groups today for Nebraska football. We received an email from a listener over the weekend that we could get to regarding the running back situation at Nebraska and a variety of other things. The Michigan, I have something about Michigan that I'd like to say.
Okay.
The Michigan of it all.
The Michigan of it all.
Yeah, I'd like to say something a little bit later on in the show, so we could do that.
I like it.
Also, yesterday I spent a couple hours at Creighton basketball
Look
practice.
at you.
Well, how big was your smile being in the gym, basketball, just bouncing? You're like,
I loved when the
we're
balls were
only 4
bouncing.
months away from the season.
I loved it. It was a lot of
No,
fun.
I get it. I know your interest. I know your predilection.
Early summer workouts and
First glimpses of multiple new players, right?
very much so.
That is okay. I'm asking
who are these people? Was
I
the
should
question.
stop asking questions so we can talk about this in full later.
I mean, yeah, we'll do it at some point, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I didn't know if it was going to also get covered. Was Jacob there? Was our Tuesday?
Jacob was not there. Jacob is going today.
Okay.
Jacob was recovering from his long weekend in Texas, in which he had to make a significant drive back on Sunday.
I want to hear about this drive.
Yeah, sounds really bad.
Yeah, it doesn't sound
That's
great.
really,
I
really,
can't
really
wait to
bad.
ask about it.
So yeah, we'll dive into some Creighton stuff if anybody wants to. Schaefer has questions. Schaefer is a curious man, and so we will get those answered as we go on throughout the show today. I'm sure our dear friend Debo has some questions as well. He's always interested in the Jays things that are going on. He's in the chat right now, and we want to hear from you guys any way you'd like to get in touch with the show. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You could call or text that number. Tweeted us at Happer and Schaefer, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. You can email Connor, Mike, or Joey at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Who's that huge guy?
And we say good morning to our YouTube streamers today. Good morning to all of you folks. I cannot wait for day 2 of SEC Media Days today. And by I can't wait, I mean I definitely can wait. Here are the coaches who are talking today at SEC Media Days. Kirby Smart, with a couple of his players from Georgia. New Auburn coach Alex Golesh. He'll be fired in 2 years.
I'm intrigued, but he's at like maybe the worst job in the country if you value security.
Definitely. If history is any indication, yes. Vanderbilt's coach Clark Lee will speak today.
Great coach.
You're in the post Diego Pavia era. And South Carolina coach Shane Beamer.
Hot seat warning.
Whose dad you love.
Frank Beamer.
Yes.
Very good coach.
You love Frank Beamer.
Well, I think that he
Frank won't
deserved
be
to be
there.
higher than 15th out of the coaches of the 90s.
He did.
I mean, I don't know that he needed to be number 1 or number, whatever. But
No.
15th was an insult to me, let alone Frank Beamer.
You were insulted by
I
it.
was.
And then another group of coaches tomorrow and Thursday, and then we will get out of there, and then it will be Big 10 Media Days next week, back at the home of the Fugitive, which is very, very exciting in the downtown.
What's our schedule? Is that a Tuesday through Thursday? Is that how they do it? In the Big Ten?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Let me check that real quick. I had it all down. Okay, so 28th to 30th. So no, Wednesday
Through Friday.
through Friday, unless
No,
this is
yeah,
last
yeah,
year's.
that's right. Friday's the 31st, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah, it's the 31st.
7 days from today is the 28th, right?
Yep,
Yep.
it is.
So that's a Tuesday.
Excellent.
Look at us.
Excellent.
We've got our dates.
Illinois-
Nebraska goes on the 30th. I think.
Nebraska goes on the final day,
Yeah.
day 3, with Indiana, Maryland, Michigan, Northwestern, and Washington. Oh, this is great. It'll be a Michigan, Indiana show. And Nebraska will just slide right in there under the radar. It's the under the radar off season. And then day 2, Michigan State, Minnesota, Ohio State, Oregon, Purdue, UCLA, day 1, Illinois, Iowa, Penn State, Rutgers, USC, Wisconsin. Ooh, that'll be fun. Day 1 will be Matt Campbell / Lincoln Riley / Luke Fickle day, which will be good. But that's a week from today. Today we talk about the Hawks that are in the SEC. Off and running on a Tuesday. Thanks for being with us. And we will step aside and be back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Not nearly as hot as we get some relief from the high heat Tuesday. Expect partly to mostly sunny skies throughout the day. Breezy with northwest winds gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Still warm with highs in the mid to upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Fernando's.
It's summertime and it's muy caliente.
All right, 6:20 on a Tuesday morning. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, and Joey Warcola with you here on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. We'll say this a little bit later on, too, for those folks who come around in the 7 or 8 o'clock hour. But something really cool coming your way. 1 month from today is 1620 The Golf Tournament.
I like golf.
People like now. Do I have your attention? Okay, good.
Yes.
We've been thinking about this idea for a little while, and it's been done. Golf tournaments have been done before, I suppose. So we're not breaking any new ground here, but we're putting together a golf tournament. It'll be a month from today, Friday, August 21st at Miracle Hills. And we want you to join us out there. Sign up. Registration is $400 for a 4-player team. I don't think you'll probably find a scramble much cheaper than that, to be honest with you.
That's on the low end.
So, which you get 18 holes of golf. We'll have gifts and food and beverages. And the after party is going to be at the Phoenix, which is right across basically the street, which is where John and Josh will be doing their show that day. So we'll all roll in.
Let's see Matt do a 999 with those hot dogs.
Hey, John and Josh, we're at the Phoenix. We just played golf. So please join us for our golf tournament, which is Friday, August 21st at Miracle Hills, sponsored by Cutwater and T-Box. Plenty of great prizes and incentives inside of the day of golf. Our show will be there. Matt will be there. We would love to hit celeb shots. Yes. That's all I ask.
Pretty much.
I just can we set up on a par 3 to where we hit celeb shots? Like,
that would be great.
Or do we want to hit drives?
What if our show was just greenside at a par 3 and we had to dodge balls as it was happening throughout?
That would be terrible. I would have so much. Joey would have so much anxiety, and I would have so much.
We're
anxiety
in the middle of the Jake Sorensen interview. Boom! Someone's teeing off. Like, hold on, Jake. We gotta avoid this.
It would sound like this when the basket or when the golf ball hit one of our heads. Just boom.
Hey, and you never know. I met my wife the night before a 1620 The Zone golf tournament in 2018.
Wow.
So you never know what happens the day before a 1620 The Zone golf tournament.
Yeah, I mean, be aware of what you're doing Thursday, August 20th. You might meet somebody important to you.
Yep.
Who knows?
You never know.
So stay tuned for Joey. I assume we have some info up on the old website on this guy.
It's on the website
right
now.
there, front page, 1620thezone.com.
Let's go.
Just click on that big old box right there, and you can get registered for 1620 The Zone Golf Tournament today. We would encourage you to do so, and we will be there in 1 exact month. Yesterday at SEC Media Days, Eli Drinkwitz was the person who made headlines. I said this yesterday on Twitter. If I was Eli Drinkwitz or if I was a college football coach, I would do exactly what Eli Drinkwitz is doing. I would show up to conference media days, say some crazy stuff. This wasn't that crazy, but like say the same like talking points and lines over and over again that is going to get people stirred up, and then just dip, leave, just go back home and go into hiding for a couple months before, a month before the season starts.
You're Eli Drinkwitz. This is the biggest stage you're getting all year.
Absolutely, 100%. And unfortunately, you do put yourself in harm's way just from the perspective of now once you say stuff and you become like the vehicle, the person who's delivering this message. Unfortunately, you come under scrutiny. It is at that point in which everyone notices that you have been a schedule merchant.
That you played Central Arkansas and that your big Power 4 non-con was against a
Kansas.
Non-bowl qualifying Kansas.
That's right.
Look, I don't want to that's a great game.
100%.
Part of my problem with this is I don't want to take away from teams who play whoever they play.
I am not defending. I am not and will not defend the Big Ten, because what he's saying is like, I wish the Big Ten would play. Big Ten schools would play good out of conference opponents. Like I wish that would still happen. I wish the Tennessee game was happening this year instead of the Bowling Green game.
Yeah,
I very much wish that.
I don't have a problem if you're like, hey, I think it'd be better for the sport if these teams played on a bigger stage in non-conference and then went on to win a national championship. Like if you say it like that, okay, great. when you say that you think a big reason why they won a national championship
This
is
is
that they
why.
played these games, and you don't acknowledge the fact that they played the same amount of Power 4 teams as almost everyone else, because those, programs play 8 conference games and then 1 Power 4 non-conference game, which is the same as 9 conference games. It just makes you look stupid. That's my whole issue with it.
Here's the full quote from yesterday. When I distinctly remember last year being in the SEC meetings when we were discussing the 8 to 9 game scenario, and we were being told that if we didn't vote to go to a 9 game schedule, then the playoffs wouldn't expand. So we made that decision. Yes. But in hindsight, we did not recognize, or I did not recognize, that they, meaning the Big Ten, didn't play an A4, aka Power 4 game out of conference. Remember, the SEC has put it into their scheduling bylaws or whatever, or suggestions, that they not only have to play 9 conference games now, but they also have to play a A4 team out of conference as well, which the Big Ten obviously does not have in their scheduling suggestions or bylaws. Or here's what you should do. Rules to remember when you're doing a non-conference schedule. It does not say schedule Tennessee. It says schedule Bowling Green, instead. And obviously, another team that is coming to into the focus on this is Indiana.
Sure.
Because they won a national championship last year, and they are notoriously and have always been really one of the worst non-conference schedulers in this sport. I mean, they really, really go to the bottom of the barrel, the scheduled teams. And so that comes under scrutiny, and that comes under fire. Once again, what he's saying is, hey, look, I think the Big Ten should play a Power 4 team out of conference. I agree with him. But when he says, stuff like he said yesterday, there was the quote that I just read you there. And then, gosh, where was the one that actually fired people up? When you don't, he said it was a big reason for its 3 national titles, the Big Ten's 3 consecutive national titles, which is absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, you had 2 undefeated teams in there, and then you had an Ohio State team that just demolished everybody in the college.
And they
football
always schedule in the non. Ohio State is a horrible example.
It was a weird off year for them where I think they were between sort of schedules, and they didn't have anybody that they played. And then the next year they played Texas, and this year they play Texas. And I don't know what it is in the future for them, but
they've played Oklahoma before, and everybody.
I think they got Alabama as well.
They do have Alabama.
Well, they had played Oregon before Oregon had joined the Big
That's right.
Ten.
Yeah.
Probably about 8 years ago.
Yep.
I want to say it was like CJ Stroud's second game or something.
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
Yeah, it was somewhere around there.
Drickwood said last year, I talked about this at SEC Media Days. We got to get out of this, oh man, it's playoffs or bust. Yes, again, we're shooting for the moon. We're going to put our whole self into that, but only 12 teams make the playoffs, so we put ourselves in position in November to be there. Didn't get it done. I got that. But if the season only counts for 12 football teams, and we got 127 Division I football teams, that's not going to math very well. Football is more than just playoff potential. And again, we were there. We didn't get it done, but there's a whole heck of a lot to be proud of. There's a whole heck of a lot to play for. When I took over, we didn't go to a bowl game. We were under NCAA probation. And ever since then, we've been going to bowl games. And there's a lot of programs right now that would trade us spots. So we've just kept fighting, kept believing, and we're going to get ourselves back there. We're going to bust through. Of course, like I said before, this is the team that comes under scrutiny because he's delivering this message. And unfortunately for them, they have been the quintessential version in college football of start the season 6-1 with a light non-conference schedule and then an easy ramp up in conference before playing anyone with a pulse.
Right.
And they're probably by the time the October rolls around, Missouri is probably in like the top 15 and then fall off the face of the earth. It happens to them every single year. They do the same exact thing. So I think it's just rich coming.
And then they're just considered a top 15 win from when they were on the schedule, not that they were ever a top 15 team.
Right.
So yeah, it's
I can't even be mad at this. Like I'm not. I can't, because it's the same thing every single time.
Yeah.
And this is what's gonna happen. And so like you'll have these coaches, and that was just day 1, right? Day 2 of SEC Media Days, day 3, and day 4. It's gonna last all week long. They're gonna say a whole bunch of stuff. And then the Big Ten coaches are going to come out next week. And my guess is, because the Big Ten is going to be strengthened by the fact that it's won 3 consecutive national championships, and it thinks it's big man on campus now and walking around with their chest puffed out, that they're going to respond, that they're going to say stuff and they're going to throw barbs at the SEC. Yeah. And we're going to try and what people are going to do to us fans of the sport is they're going to try and create this thing where the Big Ten and SEC are like 2 people and they're fighting each other.
Mudslinging.
Yes. And they're not. They're conferences. It is a collection of teams. All right. These SEC coaches are not friends with each other. The Big Ten coaches are not friends with each other, trying to band together and take down the kid from down the street. Okay. No, I'm not going into that. I'm not doing this because that requires me to take a side. I'm not taking a side. Both of these entities suck. I hate the SEC and the Big Ten for everything they've done to college football and for what they're about to do to college football. I'm not taking a side on this. So when your favorite Big Ten coach comes out next week and he starts hurling mud at the SEC, please try to not listen to him. Please. Sorry for the rant gone.
I'm not in lockstep with you on this, but I'm not all that far away from where you are, and largely I'm with the same point that none of this ultimately matters because they don't take each other on in a lot of scenarios. I did get lost in something that you said where imagining the coaches as friends and then tried to think of the best buddy cop movie amongst Big Ten coaches. And it has to involve Cignetti to some degree.
Absolutely.
And then I was thinking Brett Bielema and Kurt Cignetti would be sort of fun, especially coming off of what Indiana won that game.
I always think there needs to be a physical element to it. Like you need to have like the biggest guy and the smallest guy.
We certainly get a big guy.
I think it's Bielema and Fleck.
Yeah, but that would require Fleck to have a friend. And also cede some of his screen time.
He would play a guy who like really wants to break his way into the force, and is really eager about it.
Okay, so now really well. You saying that makes me think of Big Ten coaches replacing the cast of Police Academy movies.
Basically.
And I am very interested in this.
I don't think that'd be very difficult.
So what's fascinating to me is I think the most interesting thing that Eli Drinkwitz talked about there had nothing to do with the schedules at all. And it's sort of this mental process, and it changes when it goes from 12 to 24 of how we approach college football if you are a team that is left outside of the college football playoff.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if you're 8-4, it's not like you had a bad season, but you probably weren't really part of the college football playoff discussion.
Yeah.
Your fan base is not exactly energized about going 8-4. Nebraska's in this spot right now. Substitute 8-4 with 7-5. And
it's just funny because he was talking about how it's all become about the playoff, and yet he's talking about how it's all about the playoff.
Because
they don't. The stuff they say doesn't matter. Like
it's impossible for them not to talk out of both sides of their mouth.
Exactly.
Because they want you to know that they are the toughest rough and tumble conference in all of football, and yet have spent more time crying over the last few years than any other conference in football. And their ability to move the goalposts as to what actually makes a great conference is hilarious.
It's impressive.
It's no longer the wins on the field.
Yeah.
But his larger point, though, about just there aren't, the math isn't mathing there where there's 12 teams to 138, I think is what the number was you said the other day.
Yeah.
It does create this sort of like, what do you, if you're continually Iowa or continually, I'm trying to think of not Iowa because that's a tough example to use because I think they're largely okay with being where they are. Let's say that you're Washington and you just played for a national title. And then now you have Jed Fish.
Like Ole Miss was basically this team for a long time.
Before they broke through here recently.
Yeah.
You just played for a national title and you're Washington. You played a few years ago for a national title, and now you're not getting back into the playoff, but you're consistently winning 8 games. That would be a really interesting sort of, we'll see how fans react to this over the next few years.
I think we've solved the problem already, or we're about to solve the problem. You know what the fix is.
More!
Expand the playoff! Exciting. Just let them all in. There is no interesting zone if we just let everyone in.
What is the ultimate cap number to you? Like, how high could this thing get? Is it?
Could it get?
Yeah. It can't get to 48.
I don't believe we'll go past 24.
No, there's no way.
Well, and could they do like a 36 with a round of buys
somewhere
in there?
I haven't even heard that as a possibility.
Is it going to be one of those conference basketball tournaments where like the top seeds
Or
will just
32,
only
32
play
would be.
up to 2 games or 3 games?
I don't know. I don't know.
While everybody else has to play like 6.
32 seems like maybe that's the most.
So how
then
they
you'd
would,
have a full 4-round thing.
how they would set it up for 24, which I think is probably
With the
where it's
buys,
going to
yeah.
land, is the top 8 get
8.
buys.
Yep.
And then they play the rest of the 16-team tournament.
It's exactly how the FCS is set up, and so
Gotcha.
it's not like they don't have a model to utilize for that.
I think that's our maximum,
I hope.
but you never know.
We really don't want to be in the who's 33.
But in 24 land, I mean, a lot of the Washingtons that
Sure.
you just described make it.
No, they will. And then it becomes is a one college football playoff. Like it's what I just really interested to know what the college football sort of expectation becomes. You kind of know what it is in the NFL. You want to continually be in the playoffs. Like you want
I
your
agree with
team
you.
to
Yeah.
you want your team to challenge for a division title. That matters maybe a little bit more in the NFL because I don't know if there's stakes involved with it necessarily, but you kind of have what that mindset is. We don't really know because college football hasn't allowed itself to be settled for longer than like a 10-year period for the last 30 years. So it's
Awesome.
it's just a question in my mind as to what that exactly looks like. I think I guess it'd be longer than 10. So the BCS went from 2008 to 2013. So that was 15 years.
Yeah, 98.
Or 98 to 2013.
Yep.
So like in my lifetime, it was bowl system from 87 to 97. BCS from 98 to 2013, 4-team playoff from 2014 to 2023. And 24 is the first year.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. 23. Yeah.
So
we've never had anything longer than 16 seasons.
Yeah.
In our
respective
lifetimes.
Lifetimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's sad is that's probably the longest.
Definitely.
I don't know
the
what.
BCS will stand as alone as the champion,
Which is amazing.
It's so dumb.
the bowl system obviously stood forever, but
right.
Whatever, different era of the sport.
From the mid 80s on.
From the internet era, which is weirdly how I've started to categorize things.
It's like 2000.
Which is the clearest definition that you are old. When you say things like the internet era, you might as well just announce to people, I need a rocking chair and a nap with Matlock on Me TV.
That's funny. I say that all the time, and I love Me TV, so maybe I'm just old.
Do you like Matlock?
Not really.
Oh, come on.
I haven't got into Matlock yet. I'm not that old.
Well, I was never that old. I liked it when I was a kid.
All right, we'll take a break, and we'll come back. Thanks to our good friend Brett Ciancia for sending us a copy of the Pick Six Previews
very, very
magazine.
appreciative.
And we will pop that thing open and read it because it is readable next on 1620 The Zone. All right, great day for us. We got a new reading material. Look at this.
Josh Peterson, if you're watching,
Could you
it's
imagine?
a book you could read.
Could you imagine the satisfaction that Brett Ciancia had when he printed off these suckers at the printing? I mean, look at how
It might have only rivaled mine when I walked in through the door and I saw the package sitting on there,
my
and
goodness.
I still don't have a mailbox at this place.
But I'm talking about, like, there's something about clean, fresh printed papers
Yeah.
just stacked up and binded together.
Like, you sound like you want to work at a printing press.
I kind of do. One of my favorite days of the year is when I print out when I get my print on my yearly scorebook.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, what a great feeling. I can't wait to do it. Is it January yet? I can't wait to print that out again. But
I wonder if
now
I
we have
lost
this.
that somewhere along the lines of, working at newspapers and being a paper boy and just being around a printing press at the Telegram and all these other places.
You think you've been spoiled a little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. But I mean, I appreciate your childlike wonder
You
to
don't
the
look
joys of printing.
You don't look at the world of printing and with the same wonder anymore.
I don't.
Sad.
I can't say that I do.
All right. So there's a whole bunch of top 10.
I looked at one page
very
and I'm
easy.
already so fired
It's
up.
very easy. So there's a whole bunch of stuff at the beginning that's kind of like team rankings and trends and stuff like that. And then I think the team previews start in the 30s and then it goes all the way to the end. Notre Dame is the last team on there, which I love, by the way. Nice job, Brett. Last team on there, Notre Dame. Great call by you. So I think we just pick out 2 balls.
Yeah. And just so everybody's clear, this is only the
Power
automatic
four.
qualifier.
Yeah.
Or automatic qualifier.
Which is great. I don't want to talk about
We
UTEP
start calling
anymore.
them A4s now.
And if you that's what Drinkwood said. I don't think I like that.
I kind of like the P4.
And then
the
we
P5.
could get Phil Steele out to do
Sure.
if you want to do
I
a
think we just
Mountain
kinda-
West team.
Well, yeah, that's true. Maybe we pick a day of the week and it's only group of 5.
Ooh, fun.
That way they get included.
Producing
Unlike
the
most-
show on the air. All right, here we go. First 2 balls are 49 and 13.
Okay, so 62.
62.
Which takes us to the Big Ten. And have we talked about our friends over in Oregon?
No. Wait.
No, we did. Yeah, we've done Oregon.
All right, go to the next page.
Next page is our friends at Ohio State, which we've done.
Yes, we've done them.
Go to the next page.
Our friends at Indiana.
Nope.
All right.
I'd like to talk about Indiana. That's a great topic. Alert.
We'll just start.
Who's
with
their
the-
coach again?
Their coach is this guy named Kurt Signetti.
Oh, how long's he been there?
2 years. He has 2 college football playoffs, a national title, an undefeated 16-win season, and
There's supposed to be a
did the
misprint.
voiceover for the college football 27 video game.
Oh my God. I still watch that from time
Sometimes
to time.
when I
So
don't
good.
catch it right away and I start the game up and then his little video pops up where he winks at you,
So good.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Kurt Signetti.
He
I'm not
has
gonna lie.
unlimited aura.
I don't even care about the aura. I just everything the guy touches is winning.
When he does that college football video game trailer, I mean, like every time it pops up for me, I watch it every single time.
Yeah.
I don't care why you're here.
It's really good. Whoever wrote that, congrats to you.
So good.
And if Kurt Signetti wrote it, good Lord, you're taking everyone's shot.
So you're telling me the coach at Indiana has only been there for 2 years and he has only lost 2 games entirely?
I didn't even tell you that part of it.
Oh, I just guessed.
You guess all on your own.
What a guess by me.
That's an incredible job guessing from
What else
you.
do we need to know about Indiana? We know about the quarterback changeover. This is their 3rd quarterback in 3 years, Josh Hoover, the transfer from TCU. What else do we need to know? The James Madison guys are
Here's where
filtering
we
out.
can be a little sad about all the coaching changes that have occurred and then North Texas losing their entire team. It would have been a fun first game of North Texas versus revamped Indiana had Eric Morris and most of that team stayed there. Their schedule starts with North Texas, and then they have Howard, and then they have Western Kentucky. They have their most difficult Big Ten schedule so far for Kurt Signetti now in his 3rd year.
What does that entail?
It starts with a home game against Northwestern, which I mean,
That does not
consider
count.
that to be difficult. Nor is a road trip to Rutgers. And, depending on who you are, the road trip to Nebraska doesn't strike some as difficult either. Then it picks up Ohio State at home, October 17th, at Michigan. Then you have Minnesota, then a bye week, then USC. Then you have to travel to Washington, and you finish your season against Purdue. So you start relatively weak.
The bookends are tough, they could be some
They're
wins
there, yeah.
but yeah.
But those games in the middle, I mean, even not to say that Minnesota's great, but like catching them after playing Ohio State and Michigan and before your bye week.
Yeah.
Like you're playing
Minnesota will hang in there.
That's the 9th game of your season. Like that's not always easy when you have a late bye week.
Yeah. And Minnesota, they just hang right
around
in there. Yep.
It'd be tougher if it was at Minnesota. I expect Indiana wins that game, but yeah, that's going to be a challenge. Of course, they have to replace several pieces beyond Mendoza. Surratt, one of their great wide receivers. They had several offensive linemen, I believe, that have finished up with them as well. Do we want to go with the outlook here?
Yeah. Tell me what Brett thinks.
It's splitting hairs at the top of the Big Ten, but the loss of Heisman winner and 2 game-changing receivers moves Indiana out of the top spot. They are still a playoff pick and have a shot at a repeat title.
Yeah. I think that's an appropriate way to describe them. I mean,
I think they're right around playoff team 8 to, like you're going to get a group of 5 to 8 to 11.
I absolutely,
or just on the outside looking.
I absolutely trust them enough to replenish, and continue to get guys who, because you saw it, like it wasn't just for those of the people who are making it about the players, like about Mendoza and about Surratt and about Omar Cooper. Like he's
the one I forgot. He's the Carolina Panther.
He's my guy. He's my guy. And he made Gus Johnson.
I didn't make that up. He went to the Panthers.
I actually don't know that for sure. He made Gus Johnson do this. That guy did that when he caught that ball in the back of the end zone against Penn State.
He went to the Jets. I think you wanted him on the Panthers, and then that's probably just built that in my brain.
That's
probably drafted by Mike Sauter's Jets.
So I trust them enough because it wasn't just those guys. As you look all the way down the roster, they just find guy after guy after guy who just executes and executes and executes, and that's the most impressive thing about them. They're robotic in the way they do things, and they're just, as long as they continue to do that, they're going to win enough games to get themselves into the college football playoff. Becker is back for them at wide receiver, who, once again, like guy deep on the roster out of nowhere, and he's making the most important catches of the season in the most important moments. And it was like nothing happened.
He had several catches in the college football playoff where it's like, how is this guy?
Incredible.
He's like your 5th receiver at times. Like, what is happening?
It's amazing. And so you have to trust that they're going to find guys, whether it's new on their roster or deeper on their roster, to be able to execute things like that. And so they will. Like they'll be really, really, really good. It's just hard to go back to back.
Right. And
it's hard to go undefeated.
The schedule is really difficult when you're talking about, you have both Ohio State and USC on there. You got to go to Michigan. I don't know how difficult. You got to go to Washington. Those are a little bit easier. I believe that USC will pass Indiana. I think Indiana is going to be 4th in the Big Ten, but that still might be good enough.
Ooh, a prediction.
Yeah. I'm on USC this year, but you also know that I like Jaden Mayava a lot.
I do. Pick another random page in there.
All right. Let's get like out of the Big Ten. Have we discussed Deion Sanders, Colorado?
No, we have not.
All right. Let's go right to the outlook. Marion was a strong coordinator pick, Brennan Marion. Colorado signed a 4th straight top 25 transfer class, restocked the receiver room. But to get to bowl season, they have to fix both lines of scrimmage. Where have we heard that before? And get better effort from the defense. Colorado has Georgia Tech, then Weber State, then at Northwestern. I don't know. Is that the opening of the stadium?
That's still at the lacrosse field.
And then they Big 12 play at Baylor, Texas Tech at home, bye week, Utah at home, at Oklahoma State, Kansas State, at Arizona State, Houston at home, at Cincinnati, UCF.
I just don't think there's 6 in there.
I don't see 6 wins for them. I don't see Deion Sanders as their coach at the end of the year either.
Yeah. Okay, here's a prediction then. We have 1 minute left. How does it happen? Does he quit after the 12th game?
I think there's a world where they're 1-4 going into their bye week, and he's like, hey, part of why I got into this was to give people opportunities, so I'm stepping aside, and Brennan Marion's going to take over as a head coach at Colorado. I appreciate everything this university has done for me and my family.
Yeah, it's possible that it ends up that way. I don't think it's going to be a good year for Colorado. I could see Deion sticking around, but
Yeah, maybe.
I just don't think it's going to be a good
Just
year
because
for him.
everyone doubts that he will. Maybe he does it out of
Right.
spite.
He's a
spite
contrarian.
stick around.
After all, he is a contrarian. All right, that's our Pick Six preview today. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate that. It's a fantastic magazine, and we're looking forward to cracking it open more in the next few days and weeks. We'll take a break. We'll be back 7 o'clock hour on the other side on 1620 The Zone. Yesterday was a special day for some, and just another mark in the calendar for others. Did you receive an email yesterday from the Masters Golf Tournament?
No, I didn't.
All right, well, then you must not have applied for tickets.
No, I did.
Well, you may have received an email from the Masters yesterday, and
Did I miss it?
interesting. That thing came through, and I was like, Because what happens on Masters, basically Judgment Day, is in the morning, I will start seeing on Twitter like, oh, just got my Masters email, and I was declined for the 100th straight year. And that's how it went.
I have application received. That's the last email I have
Okay.
from tickets at email.augustanational.com.
Maybe they're still working their way through it, maybe. But many folks got their update yesterday, and I received an email at 6:29 p.m. that says, "Thank you for submitting your 2027 ticket application. We have now completed the ticket selection process for the Masters tournament and all the other things. And unfortunately, your entry was not selected this year. Thanks for your support." And it's funny, like, it's just a dead end. It just, like, there's no like, hey, we'll give you the opportunity to have 15% off of the Masters store. And I was like, I'd be interested in that right now. They're just like, nope, dead end. We'll talk to you next year. Make sure you apply next summer. And I'm like, awesome.
So I'm still alive here, and I'm trying to remember exactly what we applied for.
You have to just apply for everything, right?
For whatever reason, my wife does not want to go on a Saturday or a Sunday. So we didn't apply for the Saturday or Sunday.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't understand it either.
And I think now that my memory comes up, like, I think somebody told me like a special hint is you only apply for one or two of the days, and you have somewhat of a better chance to get selected. I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
But maybe.
Do you have let's say you are told expressly you're going to get in. Do you have a specific day that you would choose if you could choose?
Well, I feel like if you're going for the first time, which it would be mine, and I don't think I'm going to probably end up ever being there, but like if you're going for the first time, don't you want to go on a tournament day? Like, so you have to go on an actual tournament day.
I think so. I could also talk myself into Wednesday because you get the event and everything
like
going on.
Anything would be great.
Yeah,
but
that's the starting point.
You're giving me the pick, and I just like, I think it's probably Saturday or Sunday.
See, I would have thought that too, but I was informed to market 0 on those. So
market 0.
So we have Monday through Friday.
On the line, Donnie.
I'm still alive. Who knows? I might not be around next year during Augusta.
That would be so frustrating if you want.
Hey, what if I get the 4? We can do the show from down there.
Okay, that would be awesome. We'd be back at that point.
You guys wouldn't be jumping into the pond if you were doing a show down there.
No,
like some.
There would be decorum at a golf tournament such as the Masters. Nobody would be jumping into any ponds.
I suppose the Thursday, Friday, you only get the 2 tickets. So part of it is if you wanted to bring more people with you, you'd have to be at the practice.
Right? Yeah, somebody close to me went, I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this year, and went with a member. And it's just like,
so I
can't even.
Whoa. I had a former colleague whose grandfather worked at the Masters, so he had like an exclusive pass to like watch all the action for like a certain year.
Oh, that's crazy.
The closest I have is a friend of mine was a finalist for a job with Augusta National.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't have resulted in me getting anything out of it other than maybe a cool hat.
But that's how special that thing is. Like anything, if you could.
He's got an amazing job, and he's still bummed he didn't get that.
If you could be one like degree away from someone who either just went to one or whatever, like see how high you can make your way up the flagpole on that. It just feels so special. That's how much aura that tournament has. It's incredible.
It's aura max.
And so yesterday they aura maxed by telling 90% of the people that applied for tickets, no, you can't show.
Now you're getting me excited.
It's good. Schaefer, I mean, you're still alive as long as you haven't received an email yet.
My last rejection, I think, was the 23rd. I forgot to apply last year, so it was the 23rd of 2020.
That's right. I remember having this discussion. Yeah,
and so I this came up, and I made sure to apply this time.
I didn't see a tweet from Brunts yesterday. Did he It's
I
interesting.
saw something from Karen McGee. That was the only time I found out about.
Usually Bruntz is very, very, public about his rejection letter.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything from him.
Wow. What if Brunson and I both got chosen?
That
seems astronomically high on the odd scale.
Who would be, if you're listening at home or in your car, who would be the media member that you would most want to see go to the Masters? And then least want to see go to the Masters?
Like, if you could promise me that, and I don't even like him, but if Tiger Woods was playing reasonably well, Chris Bassnett going,
I would love to see that. He would die, probably.
Like,
I don't want to see Chris die, but I do want to watch that.
Chris and I were in Oklahoma City in the same section, and I got to experience that largely with him, and I know what that meant to him.
Yep.
This might even be could be a step above.
Once again, I think I tell this story all the time. When I was covering Nebraska basketball, they were doing their private selection show watch party, and they had us all waiting, and there was a golf tournament on, and Tiger made a putt. I don't even know what happened, and Baz tackled me. It
was probably the Honda Classic.
Seriously, it was something very. It was nothing. And we're sitting there in this room, and there's screens on, and we're waiting for Tim Miles to talk about how they got a 5 seed in the NIT.
Thanks, Barry.
And Chris Bassnett literally tackles me to the ground in this room in the Devaney Center. I'm like, what is going on right now? You cannot love this person that much.
He does.
But he does. He does. John writes in, how pissed are people going to be when the Masters goes through their reseeding process?
Oh. Could you imagine?
Unfortunately, they will not change their membership situation.
What was it? It was La La Land that didn't win the Oscar but got announced as winning the Oscar.
Oh yeah.
What if you got the email and then they sent back to you oh, we made a big mistake. We're really sorry about this, but actually it was supposed to go to somebody whose email was one letter different.
Oh.
I don't know how that would get screwed up in an automated process.
I think at that point they got to just let you in.
You would think, or they give you 15% to the Masters store.
Yeah. They give you a bunch of airline miles or something like that.
Man.
If you get into plane crash.
I'm already excited about going to
miles.
Augusta next year. This is great.
Schaefer, I just let me know the second you receive any sort of correspondence.
I'm going to be sitting here refreshing my my email.
All right, I have a vibe check, and this is one of the things in the summer. Let's just check in real quick. And in order to do this, you have to kind of stick with me real quick. All right, I just word vomited this onto my computer the other day, and follow along and see if this makes any sense to you. So I'm starting to see more and more folks make record predictions for Nebraska football this year. And as we predicted about the predictions, it does not feel like anyone is really going to go out on a limb for Nebraska this year and say they're a breakout candidate. I'm sure that there will be a couple here and there. Mr. Pickle, his 8-4 prediction, that was really nice of him. I wouldn't even necessarily call that going out on a limb. In the years past, let's just say there will be a fraction of folks calling Nebraska a dark horse playoff contender as there was in years past. That's how it feels to me. And so if you follow the trail of that, where there will be no shortage of people nationally talking about how Nebraska is a team to watch, or they're a dark horse playoff contender or something like that, Nebraska fizzles out during the season. Would you at all be possibly more likely to zag on the conventional thought? The conventional thought on Nebraska this year is meh. The conventional thought on Nebraska in years past is, ooh, if we're to break it down into grunts.
Those sound effects, I think, are
you think
accurate.
that's right?
Yeah.
This year it's meh. The years before it was ooh. And now, and it turns out everyone was wrong every year. They were not a breakout. They were not a breakout team. There's been years where they're varying degrees of close to breaking out or whatever it is, but they've almost always been wrong about Nebraska. Let's just say they're wrong again, and they're not meh this year.
Are you allowed to say this?
Does that logic?
Have you looked at the schedule?
Does that logic make sense? And does that make you want to predict? Does that make you want to go out on a limb for Nebraska? Like nobody's going out on a limb for him, not even locally. But now the national people aren't going out on a limb for him either. So does that make you want to go out on a limb for him?
So no, like I don't. It doesn't change how I would view it. But I do want to say that, and I wish that it was a Thursday because he would be able to explain it, and maybe Joey can make a note. We can remember to ask him about this. BC for years has talked about how like Nebraska's struggles have happened and everyone's predicting when the bounce back. And he's like, ultimately it'd be the most Nebraska thing that the bounce back occurs when everyone gives up that the bounce back is going to happen. And so like, that's kind of been like his whole thing of like, hey, even if it looks really dark before the year begins, no one knows anything. And why not have it be when everyone has given up all hope to begin? Not that dark. BC's never that dark. I'm sort of paraphrasing here.
I gotta be honest with you. Like that is a part of it.
That's been something that he has long kind of held is like
when you least expect it.
Yeah. Nebraska sort of exists unto a planet on its own. And so this way, when people are like, all right, they're just an average mediocre team, that's finally when the breakthrough will.
Mm-hmm.
That's long been his theory. I don't know if he's still holding it. He's been holding that theory for a while now, which is kind of a, at some point he might have given up on his own theory. I don't know if he had, so,
which is just a response to the other theory.
Right.
Yeah.
So we should check in on with him on Thursday. So for me, like nationally, if they're picking things, if they're not picking things, a lot of it is I don't want to let the malaise or the fact that they haven't accomplished something previously cloud the fact that how I feel about the upcoming season. Like they haven't won a ranked game doesn't mean to me that they can't win a ranked game. The fact that they didn't beat Michigan or USC last year at home when they had the opportunity to and lost both of them within 4 points is doesn't mean that they're just inherently going to lose those games forever. Because they're probably operating at 20% out of every 50-50 game they played in the last decade.
Possibly
doesn't mean
less.
that it's only going to that's how I try to approach it. And so it's basically for me, where can they get better? Why can they get better from both a narrative and from a statistical and all of these things? And I do think there's a compelling case for Nebraska, not necessarily to be like this big surprise team, but to be better than sort of where the consensus finds itself, which is the 6-6 kind of range.
Mm-hmm.
How much better is always the degree of the argument for me. Like I'm not over here saying I think they can have a 10-win season. I don't think that's likely.
It's so funny because
But then you get painted as you're super positive. You think Matt Rule's going to just have this magic touch.
Well, it's an odd thing to talk about, admittedly, before the season, but Here we are. It's July. It wouldn't take much. They wouldn't have to go. We're so used to them underperforming the expectation. And part of the expectation is what the national perception is of you. And if everyone says that you're a breakout candidate and you're a dark horse playoff team because of this, and this, and it has to be this way this year, that goes into your, how people view you at the end of the year. And so if every year you come in underneath that, and every year you walk away disappointed, like the second they either meet that or marginally exceed it, people I think jump right back in. And I think officially we're in the stance now from, like I said, from a national perspective where people are just like, yeah, just call me when they do something.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that's really, that's appropriate, given what they've been over the last several years. And I think that's where almost every team in America is. But for whatever reason, Nebraska is just this team that gets picked out of the bunch. And people say like, oh, I think, if things break right for them, they could really be a playoff team.
I think it's because it's recognized that they have underachieved for so long that they can't underachieve forever. And what's fascinating is that they've underachieved, and it's not because they have an overwhelming amount of talent. It's just that they continually put themselves in position and then don't stick the landing. And eventually, they will stick the landing. How often, again, and how much remains to be seen. But there is a better version of Nebraska than certainly we've seen in the last decade.
Yeah, and admittedly, there is this gray area where they're good and they're objectively better than they have been over the last couple of years, but it doesn't show in the record.
Right. But I think
that's always possible too.
I think one of the things now, the last 3 games of the season have made such a difficult kind of way to sort of view it this way because they were so bad at the end of it. But prior to that, I think you would look at the Matt Rule era and basically be like, well, nobody looks at Nebraska and just knows that it's going to be an easy game, aside from the one time Kurt Cignetti did it. And he done it to a lot of teams. But then you have those last 3 games. It's like, okay, well, what's real here? Is it the previous 30, or is it these last 3 where you look like you barely know how to coach football and no one can run an offensive play and no one has tackled anyone in the history of time? I mean, is that a fair summation
I think
of what
that's
they
right.
look like?
It's probably a lot like this.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
It goes beyond terrible. It was so, like the first game in more than 15 years that I'm in Memorial Stadium as a non-media member, as a non-working media member, is the Iowa game last year. And you could just tell in the second half that not only was Nebraska just dead in the water,
They're terrible.
they weren't even going to like pretend to struggle. They just allowed themselves to be dunked over or dunked under and then never rose back up. And it was
got laid out,
legitimately embarrassing. And so, Matt Rule owns that, and he wears it. I don't know if he owns it. I don't know that he expressly has come out and basically been like, you know what? We really screwed up at the end of last year.
Yeah.
That is not acceptable. I don't know that he has to do that. I think people would appreciate more of that.
No, but you're right. I mean, that was
That's why the tenor of everything is so bad.
But it's funny because depending on how you look at it, that could double as a source of optimism too. People will say, yeah, they had a lame duck and a bad defensive coordinator who wasn't getting around to people. And they kind of, after Dylan got hurt, they kind of just rolled over.
Yeah.
And it was
they weren't even good against UCLA in the game they won.
And that can double as a source of optimism because you say, well, that's not going to be the case. And certainly at least at the start of the season.
Yeah.
But you can't throw away games. And that's
you can't throw away that feeling because once you've done it once, it's at least in there.
Right.
You have to do a lot to make that go away. That was kind of the problem with Bo Pelini. That was a problem with Mike Riley. That was a problem with Scott Frost. Like once you see where the absolute bottom looks like, and you've done it a couple times, it's hard to make people forget about that, especially when you never show what the top looks like.
I'll be honest with you. I'm a little bit based off of how this has gone for a while now. I am a little bit, I suppose, more likely to zag on what the public is saying. And that's why this came up. This is why this thought sort of was born in my head. Because I just feel like every year we're always wrong.
But so when you say that, because people accuse me sometimes of being a contrarian, I think it sort of misreads the situation.
This is definitely a contrarian take by me.
Okay.
Yes.
When I'm zagging, there's generally a reason for it that isn't, well, other people think this. Part of why I'm excited about the defense is I think there's a lot of similarities to what happened in 2023 when no one was excited about Nash Hutmaker and Ty Robinson.
I think there's real logic.
And so that's, and people are, you're just saying that because everyone thinks you're going to be bad. No, I don't know that it's going to be true, but that's part of why I feel like, hey, there's at least some optimism here.
Yeah.
So there's something to it. And then I think about the other side of the ball. I have way more enthusiasm and excitement about defense than I do offense. Every time I think about the offense, I'm reminded that
you hate Dana Holgorsen.
Right. And everything's a giant question mark.
I have seen that.
And everything lines up to if this guy who ran out just an atrocious offense for most of last year can show that he has some spark of creativity to him. Because you're relying on changing up your run game entirely, an offensive line that we think could be good, but we don't know. There's pieces in there that I know are good, and then there's pieces that I don't know what they are. Tree Babalade being one of them. And how does that work?
Excited for a little juice on offense.
How does that work with Dana Holgorsen?
So stale.
Are they going to run 75 wide receiver screens?
Maybe if they like to play, they go back to it as we've seen.
Well, that's great.
Run it again.
I have no problem if you have pet plays. I kind of have a problem if your big inventive play in 2025 was a wide receiver screen. Just me.
Maybe he felt like that's all they could do.
I don't know. I would maybe talk to Troy Calhoun, see what you can figure out happens out of the veer. That might be new for you.
I do not think they're going to do that.
No, they won't. They will not.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying, but I also don't need them to be so inventive on offense because
right. They
I've
don't have
seen
to recreate
coaches,
the wheel.
Like
they don't
I
have
see
to come out with a 700-page playbook.
I watch your boy James Franklin do this crap where they're playing 90 quarterbacks, and I'm like, dude, stop. All right, you are getting.
He doesn't do that when they're good.
He does it
when
all
they're
the
good.
time. He did it with the Warren guy from 2 years ago, and they were doing too much.
He didn't do it with McSorley. He didn't do it with Clifford. When he has his guy, he has his guy. He doesn't. He's cycling.
I oftentimes thinking like, man, you're doing too much. All right, just chill out. So like, I'm in the middle zone of yes, I want them to be more creative and I want them to have more options, but also like I want them to get good at a couple of things.
I am.
I
am not asking for them to do ring around the rosy like they're the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl against the 49ers.
Please God, no. That'd be terrible.
I am asking for them to come up with route concepts that would work against man coverage occasionally. Like I don't know why I could sit in Huntington Bank Stadium and watch Minnesota run a drag route, and Nebraska's defense seem like they have never seen this concept in their life. And yet, if Nebraska runs a drag route, the receiver falls down, the quarterback throws it slightly too high so he can't catch it in stride. They can't get the pass off, or more likely, they don't run it at all.
Yeah, it's just simple execution.
Like when I'm asking for creativity, it's not like I need it to be.
See, this is what I'm. This is
what
what
I
I'm saying,
need is not the second down and goal fade pass that everyone knows is coming, and you ran it 30 times or something last year.
This is what we're talking about in the difference. Like, I don't need I want them to do that stuff. I just want them to be able to execute it. Like you said,
sure, yeah.
If Minnesota is running the same type of stuff Nebraska is doing, for some reason Nebraska's players all go blind at the exact same moment and they all fall over. That's what it seems like happens. How about just execute the stuff, right?
It's 3rd and 7. I wonder what their wide receiver in the slot's going to do. Oh, he's coming across the formation. Wow.
Yeah, but maybe he can stay upright or something.
Well, yeah, I was talking about Minnesota
right.
because he's going to catch it. And Nebraska's linebacker ran into the defensive back, and 64 yards later, they're in field goal range.
Right. We get a text here from, let's see, the 515. The Nebraska media has consistently overestimated their record by 1 to 2 games. The only people that I remember being half correct have been Sasha and Josh Peterson, although I have quit keeping track as the era of irrelevance has entered its 3rd decade. Wow, 3rd decade, really? Wow, shout out to Sasha, too. Yes, people have been overestimating win totals for a very long time. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen this year locally. Nationally, I think we have a great idea of what's going to happen. Locally,
Nebraska is not involved in the playoff picture.
Correct. And people
agree.
will say, 7-5 until proven
Put it
otherwise.
on the board.
Put them at 7-5. We'll put them as a placeholder spot, and then talk to me when you've done something more than that. Or they beat a good team this year, which is, I think, would go a really, really long way. Locally, I don't know what's going to happen. We'll have to see how camp goes. There'll be some Kool-Aid that'll be drunk and slung. That's for sure. So we'll see. We'll take a quick time out. If you guys have any thoughts, 402-951-1620.
I do have an update to offer.
An update?
Yeah, I received a tweet telling me that you can just log into your Masters ticket account at masters.com and learn your fate.
You didn't get them.
Didn't get them.
Yeah. I was going to say, I told you, if you got it, you had to stop
Very depressing.
All right, good. I'm sorry, but good.
All right, good.
Back with Power Rankings with Tears after this. Mike Schaefer is a person who is known to have some distaste for some things. Where is that distaste directed the most? Find out next on 1620 The Zone. On top of 1620, the golf tournament, which has now been announced, and you could head to 1620thezone.com and find out more information on that. We also have the Road to Wrigley situation going on right now. Of course, with Union Bank and Trust, we're going to send you out to watch Nebraska and Missouri play volleyball at Wrigley Field. That's right. Nebraska and Missouri volleyball, Wrigley Field. This is Sunday, September the 6th. We'll get you tickets to the game, airfare from Omaha to Chicago, 2-night hotel stay in downtown Chicago, and 150 extra bucks on top of that. It is the Road to Wrigley, presented by Union Bank and Trust. At UBT, people don't have your money has people. Member FDIC. Sign up today, 1620thezone.com. Power rankings with tiers. Teams that we would least like to see win a championship. This could be for any reason. We'll ask for explanations on some of them. Some of them won't need explanations. But we have the
Don't want to see them win.
We don't want to see them win. I have 4 tiers, and there's a little bit of an interesting quirk to mine. And the quirk is that my first tier is empty.
Ooh.
There's nobody in it.
Wow.
And that tier is called White Hot Hatred.
Okay.
I don't hate anyone. I don't really hate anyone. I can't really explain that, but I don't hate any one team so much.
I have enough hate for both of us.
Okay, so I was going to say, like, you can supply the hatred
Yeah.
in this conversation. I have a lot of teams that I'd really prefer not to win championships or whatever. But like, as far as I can't watch these guys because the color of their uniforms just makes my skin curl. Like, no, I don't have any of those.
Okay.
So I apologize for my lack of hatred.
I have 2 in the top tier, and these teams, it's an absolutely miserable experience should you see them win. Unfortunately, I have experienced it multiple times now in my lifetime for each of these teams. We have the Green Bay Packers, which unquestionably number 1.
Go
There was
Packers.
never any opportunity for anybody else to potentially be in that seat.
Would this experience be made even worse now that you have daily interactions with your producer, Joey?
No, I mean, I know a lot of Packers people. So like part of it is I hate them and never want any success for the team, but it's a great banter back and forth of all of it.
It's good
But if they
content.
won, Joey would be insufferable. It'd be
They
bad.
all are
Joey, you know it. It'd be bad.
2010 was a terrible time in society.
It'd be really bad.
When they beat the Vikings in week 1 in front of Schaefer, then that's going to be
possible.
See, so
gonna be
he would
fun.
do exactly that. He would just dig it in a little bit every day.
Right. They'd have to actually do it, which is something that they've struggled when,
Interesting.
the Vikings have a real quarterback. The Packers haven't been able to solve the Kevin O'Connell offense.
That's true, and they don't really solve anything when they're out at Minnesota
Uh,
most of the times.
Man, there is a time in my life where they only won at Minnesota. Like the teams just won at the other team's home
Yeah,
field.
yeah.
It's a home field doesn't really matter when you're half of the fan base is at the other
But
place.
it
all
seems
the
like
time.
every time the Packers play in Minnesota, they just never get their way over there.
Good.
I think they've
Let's
won
keep it that
2
way.
or 3 times since they started playing at US Bank Stadium.
Oh, that's probably right. I have so many.
The Aaron Jones game, the COVID
So many
game, and
horror
then
stories.
Jordan Love going off on New Year's Eve.
I like that you have them memorized. All right. So the other team in this miserable tier
Mhm.
is Kansas basketball, which is still I'm always amazed at how much hate I have for a team that Nebraska no longer regularly plays. But I have hated them my entire life. And I don't know exactly why.
Too
but
many Kansas fans around
there's
here. That's why.
there was that. There was the Kerry Cohorn game where Nebraska looked like they were about to upset them, and then Kansas got a bunch of calls at the end and only had to make free throws to win, which is usually how they win anyways. There was a time that I stood in line from like noon on to go to a big Monday game, and Nebraska had 7 points with like 2 minutes left in the first half. There's like the 50 times where it felt like Brandon Rush would just go off against Nebraska and never against anybody else.
Dope.
There was a time in the Big 12 championship or Big 12 tournament where like Sasha Khan just decked somebody on Nebraska's roster, didn't get a foul. They end up like blowing the lead, losing the game.
This is awesome.
There was a 2017 where James Palmer like makes a layup and you can see him on the big screen say, "You can't guard me."
Yep.
And then Nebraska ultimately loses on the 3 to
Svi
someone who's-
Mikhailuk.
name that I can't remember.
Got it.
I just hate them. I hate them
Celtic
so
champion.
much. And then I revel, and part of it is the Schadenfreude of it. So that's why these two teams are at the top. Like I revel when they lose.
Yeah.
When Kansas goes out to the Bucknells and the Belmonts and the VCUs and
love it.
whatever, it is just like Christmas in March. It's unbelievable.
Okay. There's a couple of teams like that, but mostly I would say it's a shared idea of all the college basketball blue bloods. I
get that.
I don't separate Kansas. So here is my tier that actually has teams in it. My first tier of hatred. This is called Please Do Not. Please don't win a championship. And,
Please.
And they're all in the same sort of, I mean, that's why they're in the same tier. Red Sox, Yankees, Lakers, Celtics, St. Louis Cardinals, Detroit Tigers, Chicago Cubs, Baltimore Orioles, and Michigan.
Is that a Jason Lockenfora thing?
It is. Screw you, Jason Lockenfora. You're an idiot.
I want to have him on the show.
I got to
You're an idiot. Guest and then just let you guys go back and forth about 2015.
He doesn't understand logic.
2014.
I mean, they got in a fight. Benches cleared last week when they played each other.
Great.
There's something about the Orioles that bothers me.
I had several of those teams on my second tier, which is root against every time. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Red Sox, Duke basketball, North Carolina basketball, English national team, the Tampa Bay Rays, Michigan everything, and the Chicago White Sox and the Houston Astros.
Nice. Those are good. Those are some good ones in there. All right. Now I have the would be annoying. This would be very annoying if any of these teams won a championship. Given that, we'd probably have to talk about it. We'd have to say, oh my God, look what this franchise did. It would be terrible. The Rays. I think this is the exact definition of a team that would be so annoying if they won a championship.
It's annoying when they do anything. The Rays would be terrible. The Patriots would be terrible. The Bears would be terrible. The Eagles, we've had to experience that multiple times. It's terrible. The White Sox, could you imagine if the White Sox won the World Series? It would be terrible. They did, and it was.
The Bulls, the Jets, the Falcons, Iowa, and Alabama, and everything. It's never going to happen, but in case it did, it would be terrible. The Knicks are not in this because
you like the Knicks.
I'm fine with the Knicks. Yes.
I didn't even include them on this because they just won a title, and I was, it's what it was. So my third one is
number one on Joey's.
I gotta make a list. I gotta make a list.
Joey, there'd be a lot of teams on yours.
The third tier for me is called petty grudges, teams that I don't want to see win because they beat my team and it makes me mad.
This is good.
Chicago Cubs.
Yep.
Philadelphia Eagles, New Orleans Saints, the Oklahoma City Thunder for just existing.
Wow.
And then the Miami Marlins because I'll never get over 1997.
Okay, so this is funny. The Marlins made an appearance on both of our lists.
The Marlins and Rays.
And ask John Bishop, too. He hates the Marlins for a variety of different reasons.
Well, yeah.
But his biggest thing is they don't deserve to have it.
There's a portion of that for me,
They don't deserve it. How have they won 2 World Series in the last 20 years? Or 30 years, I guess now.
Yeah.
2 World Series in the last 30 years, and yet they don't care like 75% of the time. It's embarrassing.
They have inept ownership, inept front office, inept players, and they still have more titles than my team.
So my last tier is wouldn't like it, but would likely forget about it almost instantly. So this is where the Marlins come into play. They lead off this tier. The Minnesota Twins.
Yeah.
What would happen if the Minnesota Twins won a title? I don't know, but I'd forget about it right away. The Oakland/Las Vegas/nomadic A's. And then I have any NHL non-legacy franchise.
Oh, okay.
Like the Sharks and the Thrashers. Do the Thrashers exist anymore? The Buffalo Sabres, like any of those.
They're not a legacy franchise?
I don't know. Maybe they are.
I feel like they've been around my whole life.
I don't know. I feel like a Sabre has a,
That's fair.
A team with a name, the Sabres, that hasn't been around for very long. And then most Eastern Conference NBA franchises, for example, the Wizards.
Okay.
Like I would not like if any of those teams won, but I would forget about it almost instantaneously.
That's fair. My fourth tier is they have enough. I'm like, I don't need to see these teams win again.
Okay.
I don't have like visceral hatred necessarily. And one of them I kind of did, and it's kind of just they've won 3 Super Bowls, so they no longer care anymore. So this is the New England Patriots, the Kansas City Chiefs, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Los Angeles Lakers, and all SEC baseball.
Yeah.
teams.
That's good.
So
All SEC, every one of them.
I don't need it anymore.
What about, I guess South Carolina had a couple.
Yeah, they've all basically done it. Auburn, I don't think, has won one in a long time.
Yeah.
Alabama obviously just got back to the College World Series for the first time since '99.
I definitely don't need that.
Nobody needs Missouri baseball to have success either. Won't feel good for Detroit is my 5th category.
Oh, no.
The Detroit Lions and Detroit Tigers. I don't care how often you try to tell me in 2023 that you have to feel good for Detroit. I didn't. I won't. You can't make me.
I respect this take by you. What about the Pistons and the Red Wings?
Don't care
Okay.
at all.
Put them in this tier, though.
Yeah. I've seen both of them win titles. They can go in the tier. Joey, feel free to add them if you have the ability.
I'm still
don't.
finishing up your thing. You got a
Well,
lot
there
of
you go.
teams. So
My
it
last
works.
year.
I
It
think,
works.
Joey, honestly, I just think you should tweet out Schaefer's today because this is a great list. I think it would
Wait till the last
it
tier.
would
though.
pack more of a punch if it was just Schaefer's by itself.
Unfathomable. And what I mean by this is my brain can't even conceive a world in which they win the title. And it's hard for me to know how angry I would be because it's impossible for my brain to get there to them winning the title.
All right.
Creighton. I thought you'd enjoy that.
That's pretty funny.
Iowa football.
Uh-huh.
The Minnesota Twins. They don't win playoff games. How the
Yeah.
hell are they going to win a title?
Impossible.
The Chicago Bears. They have been in the Super Bowl, but it
Yeah.
was with Rex Grossman, and no part of me in 2006 thought they were going to win that game.
Yeah.
And they clearly did not come close to winning that game. And then the Mexico national team I just threw on at the end.
The Mexico national soccer team.
They go as far as the United States does, and yet they're viewed as a threat. I don't think so.
I don't know how they're viewed.
So
I that is an incredible tier. The
the unfathomable.
Creighton, Iowa, Twins, Bears, and Mexico national team.
We're all over the place.
If you put that out there and just screenshotted it and said, what do all of these teams have in common? Everyone would say, really nothing.
Well, it's real Midwest, and they're all in the Central Time Zone, so you have that.
That is true. That is true.
You have that. Well, I guess the Mexico national team when they play in Mexico City.
Those are the teams that are not allowed to win championships, according to Mike J. Schaefer. Exciting. Very exciting stuff. You can find Schaefer's tier list because I feel like I did a much worse job than you did. It's a
get
tier
in a
list
few
that was
minutes.
built for you.
I got a text just disappointed in our Rays hatred. They don't know where it comes from.
Everyone always says that to us, and I'm like, I don't understand what you don't get about this.
It's very easy to hate them. Very hateable.
Just think back to the times where they went to the World Series and what it sounded like during that time.
Just imagine.
This is such a great idea.
Should a team-
Let's pay our players no money.
and not have anybody in the stands ever.
Awesome.
Fun
Awesome.
times.
Let's take a break. We'll come back with Joey's headlines. Coming up next on 1620 The Zone. An interesting point here from Platcat on YouTube. What do all those bottom Schaefer tier teams have in common? He says all significantly have more recent success than Nebraska football. That's the common denominator, and is true. The Twins go to the playoffs a lot. Creighton makes the NCAA tournament a lot. Iowa is good in football and whatever a lot. Who I don't know what the Mexican national team wins an amount.
They
of
always get out of their
international
groups.
games.
Guillermo Ochoa is just there all the time in the World Cup.
And who is the other one? Who is the
England.
No, that wasn't the last tier. It was the Chicago Bears who do not go to the playoffs.
That is true, but they did go to
They did go this
playoffs.
past year, and they won a game. They won a game in Joey's
But those are the teams who like
Unfortunately.
they're usually really good and very well respected, but they're probably not going to win a championship.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
All right, Joey.
I think most of the teams on the list win more than Nebraska does, for what it's worth.
That is definitely true, which is part of the reason why we don't want to see them win championships.
Exactly.
All right, Joey, what do we have today in the headlines category?
Headline number 1. On this nearly deserted Alaska island, you pay to keep hundreds of empty buildings wired for internet.
You pay to keep hundreds of empty buildings wired for internet. Okay, I don't even understand that really, but which makes me interested.
I have lots of questions.
Uh-huh.
And so let's see the next headline, but
Yep.
it's a heavy favorite, I will say.
Headline number 2. A dead python will get you a free pizza at this man's restaurant. Yes, it's in Florida and not at California Pizza Kitchen.
Okay, interesting. So
Two good headlines today.
that makes, I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory, right?
I think if the guy doesn't like snakes, if you bring him a deadly snake, he'll give you a pizza.
ProPublica.org. This is on this nearly deserted Alaska island. You pay to keep hundreds of empty buildings wired for internet. U.S. phone customers pay more than $340,000 a year for an Anchorage company to keep homes and buildings on Alaska's Adak Island wired for obsolete internet service. All but a few of them sit empty. On an island in the Bering Sea, 1,200 miles from Anchorage, Alaska, sits an abandoned house on an abandoned Navy base. There is no furniture, and the wind blows through broken windows. The last people to live here moved away long ago. Yet a bright orange pipe with a black fiber optic cable inside runs from the outer wall down to the surrounding soil. The cable was installed to connect the home to the internet after the base closed. It costs more than $340,000 a year to provide this building and hundreds of others, all but a few of them empty, with internet access no one says they use. The money being wasted is yours. It comes from a fee added to nearly every American's phone bill as a part of the FCC subsidy program intended to bring fast, affordable internet to remote towns. Oh no, this is like an investigative piece. This is
actual news.
Yeah, this is interesting. Reporting this year by the Anchorage Daily News and ProPublica has found that the multi-billion-dollar Universal Service Fund pays for what often amounts to slow internet access for customers who actually no longer use it. The FCC keeps the money flowing to telecom companies regardless of their owners' track records. It keeps paying a Fairbanks company to provide internet service while its owners served federal prison time for tax evasion. The government kept paying Alaska's largest telecom, GCI, even after it signed a settlement for alleged fraud related to the subsidy. Yet a few places make the federal government's failure to safeguard this money more obvious than ADAC. So basically what it shows is a large village that is supplied with internet that nobody lives in that we pay for.
Population estimated at 77.
So basically this island was kind of like a military base a long time ago, and then it went out.
You know what? Like possibly hot take. I am not triggered by this type of stuff as much as people will often say like, "Hey, I'm paying for it. Why am I?"
Yeah, I mean, you're
why
paying
am I
the
paying for this?
equivalent of like 7 cents a person.
Exactly.
You're okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Is Is it like,
Could there be a better use of that
Of
7
course.
cents a person?
of
Probably.
of course. Would I rather not those 7 cents go to this thing that I don't care about and that barely exists? Yes, of course. But I always say this, like, there are some things that happen in the world that just like that happen and people need to be more willing to go along with. Like, not everything is a conspiracy theory, and not every cent has to be fretted and freaked out about, And so I don't know if that's a good advice. I don't know if that's bad advice. It's probably bad advice, but there are just certain things, this being one of them, that I just really don't concern myself with.
Yeah, no, this is
partly
not
my motive.
I'm not overly, I actually am fascinated by a lot of it, and the photos are amazing in this thing too.
Yeah.
Just the desolation.
Jason writes in on Twitter. He says, reading a story from ProPublica was something I did not foresee coming this morning. Me neither. But it is Joey's headlines nonetheless. We'll take a quick time out. We are halfway home, 8 o'clock hour. Up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. The half-off deal this week is to Red Door Wood-Fired Grill, $50 worth of gift cards for just $25. That is Red Door Wood-Fired Grill in Exarban. And unsportsmanlike conduct will have your chance to win those for free this week. And if you miss out on those, you can check out the Zone Deal Friday at 9 at 1620thezone.com. ESPN is going through another round of layoffs today, which I assume that news is going to start breaking very, very soon. There was one that came out yesterday in Ryan Clark, who apparently was told during the show that he was being laid off by his producers and then did not finish the show because they were worried that it was going to like leak out there or whatever. Now, Andrew Marchand this morning from The Athletic is reporting that Karl Ravech is another one of them. This is a half hour ago we reported this, at which point Karl Ravech was reached by phone by Marchand, and Ravech had yet to have been told that this was happening, which, like, I mean, I don't know why we have to do this. And I feel bad for even saying it on the radio right now, but like I saw the news story. So that, I mean, that's significant given that he is the voice of ESPN's voice of the College World Series around here, at least how it applies to you.
Imagine learning that you have been let go of your job from a reporter.
You answer the phone in the morning and you're like, hey, what's going on? Why is this reporter calling me? And you're like, oh, no, I haven't heard anything like that. But I'm assuming the next phone call that I get, I will.
Yeah, I guess we'll just sit here and wait.
That's not good. That's not good. So I hope, I don't know. I hope it's not too significant for ESPN today, but another round. It feels like they've gone through like 40 rounds.
I think this is unfortunately something that's just every year. There's the kind of cost cutting as you gear up for the next costs of live sports and all of it.
Well, I mean, this one seems to be like people who have been around for a little while, which I would imagine that is not uncommon in the.
I mean, that's exactly what my situation was a year ago.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody that got let go of 24/7 Sports had been there for at least 6 to 7 years. And there's probably about 10 of us, and we were all largely in recruiting. And
yep.
You're relying on
like you've been around too long. You've been, you make too much money and we have to keep paying you more money. And so we're going to go with someone younger who we pay less money and we have been around for less long.
In the case of Oscar 24/7, they haven't added anyone. So you go with less.
Right. So it happens sadly. Excuse me. This is not good for the industry. That's for sure. All right. 8 o'clock hour back here on Happer and Schaefer. Mitch Sherman is going to join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk with him about some Nebraska football topics, of course. Do we want to do this, the position groups thing?
Yeah, I threw that on there for any time this week. So if you would,
I think it's now.
Do you have thoughts on it?
I do.
Okay.
I do. One we're confident in, one we're curious about, and one we think is a liability.
Which one you want to start with?
Well, I think we either go the confident one or the liability one.
Okay.
Which do you think people want to hear about more? Liabilities or things that are going to be good?
Well, it sort of depends on the person, I guess.
It does. What do you think our audience might want to hear?
Let's be positive. And
Okay.
we'll start with the one that we're confident in.
Positive boys.
Or do you start with the one that you're least confident in? And
No, this is exactly what went through my head.
What in the world do we do here? Let's start confident.
All right.
Because I feel the strongest maybe about this than I do other things. And I guess if you want, I'll go ahead and launch into this whole spiel. I feel really good about Nebraska's secondary. I like a lot of the pieces that are back there. I think they have a lot of upside on top of it. Like, it's one of the position groups that I think has a really high floor, but then including having a really high floor, like, I think there's guys that could be, breakout candidates. I think there's guys that could be Certainly all conference players. Like, I think they have that level there, whether it's Andrew Marshall, I think could make a big jump and be a really strong college cornerback. We saw that last year in his first run of play, and I think he's only going to get better. You have guys in a Danny Odom that, how good could he be as a freshman? We'll see. We heard Tim Verghese talking yesterday. Jeremiah Charles is a guy inside the walls over there that they think is ready for this opportunity. We saw him get a start against UCLA 2 years ago, and it didn't go well. But he's continued to work and elevate his craft and his game. And so you have sort of these breakout guys. You have guys like Dwayne McDougal. I have no questions on Dwayne McDougal. He's played for Rob Arch in that system for several years, and he's been really good every time he's played for him.
I have a question for Dwayne McDougal. What is a good nickname we could have for Dwayne McDougal? A guy like with the name Dwayne McDougal has to have a great nickname.
Man, I don't have an answer for that one.
Okay, well, we'll come up with it. We'll come up with it.
I love that they have an additional coach who's worked with Rob Arch in the past, and Tyler Yelk, who's working specifically with the safeties. I think Addison Williams quietly had one of the best coaching jobs all of last season, and we didn't really get to talk about it much because, one, they didn't force enough turnovers. So that's an area where they have to be better. I want to see more interceptions in 2026. I think that's going to happen almost by default. It's hard to have as few as they had a year ago, and to do that again. But I mean, both off the field as a recruiter, but also on the field, like his position group played really, really well, except in one area that I think will be a lot better. They were atrocious in run fits last year, specifically the safeties. Dwayne McDougal will help with that. I think Jameer Khan can help with that. I think that they are just going to be better there than they were a year ago.
So that's what would stop me on that particular group from being
it
wasn't
this. Just like, that's an area where they have to improve. It was a literal gunshot wound to your defense when your safety could not fit the right hole in the run defense.
They certainly were not helped by the people in front of them, as you mentioned.
No. But it's exacerbated when your last line of defense isn't even in the right spot.
Yeah, I still so they would be my curiosity. I think they would be my curiosity.
I have a lot of
there.
And maybe I'm just like early compared to where other people are willing to be on it, but I have a lot of confidence that
I have two curiosities, so I'll use my second curiosity for my other for my curiosity. My confident one, I think I've been clear about this all offseason, is the offensive line.
Yeah, I think that's probably where a lot of people would go. And I don't have any.
I'm just in. I
don't have pushback on it. Like I'm not over here like, oh no, I'm gonna zag. No, it's not that.
What I'm not saying is that, because what people always do is like, well, you can't have a good team if you don't have a good offensive line. And by me saying I think they're going to have a good offensive line does not mean I think they're going to have a good team. Yeah. I just think they're going to have a good offensive line. I just don't think we'll end up talking about the offensive line as like this big gaping hole. And some of it is probably based on comparing it to offensive lines of the past, where it's like, well, they can't really block anybody, and it's broken down all over the place, and they don't really know where they're going or what they're doing. But the thing that I always look for in these positions is, do you have returning production? Do you have returning snaps? Starters back from last year? Check. Do you have I don't know if he's a star, but do you have a guy, a real linchpin of the offensive line? I think you have a couple of options.
You have so this is what I would refer to as like all conference type players. I think
Justin
they have that
Evans
in both the defensive room or defensive back room and on the offensive line.
And then do you have, this offseason in particular with the offensive line, you went out and you plugged some holes as far as transfers were concerned with guys who have been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you have some young and up and comers who are pushing? And I think that's the case at the defensive back position and at the offensive line position.
Yeah. So what I love with the offensive line is that it feels like they have depth beyond just their starting five. And even if I have some question about Tree Babalade, because I just don't know, he started and then he kind of lost his job. I don't know exactly what that looks like. But you also have Gunnar Gatula and you have Tyler Knack and you have you're at least 7, if not 8 deep on the offensive line.
And that's sort of what I meant. Yeah.
That's a really good spot to be.
Yep.
Like that's a really nice spot to be with your offensive line. And then there's if you want the upside argument, not that I should be making your argument for you. It's
Thank you.
Jeep Wade is someone that we have seen have success elsewhere. He has helped get guys to the NFL.
I didn't even mention Jeepers Creepers.
He's very well respected in the position, which we have now learned at this point in time.
And it's flat top.
There's some real enthusiasm there, and they have planning to fundamentally change the way that they are going to run the football, which in theory could be a problem if it doesn't come together correctly or if the play calling doesn't align. I don't really have that concern. Like, I actually think it's going to be a fairly smooth transition.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why
regard.
I think I'm probably a little bit higher on Holgorsen and the whole offense than you are, just because I feel like you'll have that
Safety net.
that thing that's always a question won't be much of a question this year.
Well,
That's
that
why-
offense
yeah.
looks a hell of a lot better if last year they're able to pick up 4th and short in the red zone
Right.
more often. You know, if they could successfully run the ball inside the 10-yard line, I probably don't have to complain about as many fades, which means the visceral anger that I have is lower.
Right.
So, you know, but that didn't happen.
Curiosities for position groups.
So I have this is the category of which I think there are.
You could have like
most.
9
Yeah.
curiosities. I would like to hone in on one that I don't think anyone's talking about.
Ooh, okay.
Tight end.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I like Luke Lindenmeyer. I think that Luke Lindenmeyer is relatively dependable. I don't think he has a very high ceiling.
Ooh.
I haven't seen anything from Carter Nelson. And I really don't know who's behind him.
Right. Yeah. So
I mean, they could be a liability, to be honest with you.
That's a really interesting one because that wasn't where I thought you were going to go as I try to navigate around my microphone here. That's really interesting. So I know that they like Luke Sorensen a lot. That's a true freshman at tight end, but I think how they're going to utilize him is more as an H-back. So he's not necessarily going to be like this second string tight end. Is it Caden Echternock? Is that
Yes,
the next?
Maybe.
Is that probably the next guy up that's like a true inline blocking tight end? Because obviously Carter Nelson is going to be utilized different because he's just not
And
the physical.
I like that idea that they have different body types at that
Sure.
position. Like I've
But
always
you need
liked
to
that.
see it work.
I just don't know if there's
I think
enough.
That's 100% fair.
Don't know if there's enough there.
Trying to think of
So
other
the tight ends on the
ends.
roster as listed on Huskers.com. Lindenmeyer, Echternock, Ingwerson, Carter Nelson, Danny King, and Luke Sorensen. I guess Danny King could be another one.
Yep. And I mean, Ingwerson, we haven't seen a lot of, but he's a large human.
And then there's like your like Bonner, I guess, kind of slots.
He's like
into
in
this.
that H-back,
Yeah.
Chancellor Brewington-esque role.
Yeah.
But
Wood
to
is
your
they call
larger
him.
point, and I probably am a little higher on Lindenmeyer than you are because I think that he had to stand and chip so much last year that it cut into what his overall production could be. And I actually thought he flashed early in the season that there's more there than just, he's not just a guy. Like I think he's someone that could be utilized more. But yeah, I think I hadn't really considered it as a curiosity, but you kind of sold me.
I am curious.
And even if I do like Lindenmeyer a little bit more than you do, I'm definitely after that. There is a very many.
I'm
questions.
just like, I'm done with the Carter Nelson thing. Like,
yeah, well, I don't know that you're alone. I'm
just-
definitely not done. I would love to see more.
Like,
He's got to be healthy.
What stock I had, I have sold it.
Okay.
And I don't know that I had that much.
Did
in the
you
first
reinvest it anywhere?
place. Oh, good question.
What we need to do at the beginning of a year is have a fictional stock market in which then we can we can sell our stock somehow. And
What
then we
about
have to
like a-
reinvest it.
What about,
You
everybody,
always have to put it back in.
everybody does like Husker team like drafts. What if we did like an auction?
I love this. I genuinely love this.
Yeah, this is really good. Okay. All right.
We'll
Well,
figure out how we're gonna
Joey,
do this.
right? Put it on the list. Husker auction.
I like
Husker,
this.
Husker auction. Okay. All
Okay.
right. What's your curiosity?
I have many. So I went defense. I think I'm gonna go defense here again. I'm really curious. I know that they brought in Owen Chambliss. I know that they brought in Dexter Foster. I know that there is still reason for optimism with Vincent Shavers, and we haven't seen the best of Dawson Merritt and this and that and all of it. I was really bummed by how poor we have a
guy?
bird joining us.
Yeah.
here.
All sorts of wildlife.
By how
around
poor
here.
the linebacker play was last
Yeah.
year. And so I think they're going to be better, but without having a clear picture of what the defensive line actually is able to do. Like, are they going to be able to overcome some of the deficiencies in front of them? Are they going to have overall athleticism that they just didn't have last year? I mean, they were really, really unathletic and really, really unappealing to watch at times in both the run game, in coverage, in the short passing game. Like, it
The,
felt
the
like
Watson Trent thing didn't work,
oh,
and
man, that was. And I thought that,
and Shavers I think was hurt
Sure.
like the majority of the year.
and I think Deshaun McCullough was a one-trick pony whose trick wasn't even that good. Like there was a lot of enthusiasm for him, and I just saw a guy that was 215 pounds that couldn't get off a block.
I was super high on like I thought the Watson Trent
Yeah,
thing
that
would
was
translate.
my biggest bust of last year.
Yeah, I really thought that would translate.
He'd be a really productive, solid player.
And now I think like the linebacker that takes his spot this year of guys that I like is Foster.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how it works.
Right. And he's a guy who's super, super athletic, but has to prove that he can play a full season. Like he's got to get through some of the nagging injuries and everything else. I think there's a ton of upside in this room. I just kind of am at the point where I need to see the production before I'm willing to go, head over heels with it. And I like Rob Arch a lot. I think he previously had done a really nice job up until this third year. And then everything went bad, and it's like it went bad in front of them. And then the linebackers that they brought in didn't really fit what they wanted to do. And some of last year, when you go back and you look at it, and it's like, I still don't understand what type of defense John Butler actually wanted, other than he was really convinced that he could outsmart college quarterbacks with his coverages, which he was able to do. He could do that. He just couldn't do it enough to make up for the fact that they had no pass rush, no ability to stop the run, no defensive playmakers of any kind. Outside of that,
if you think about
the
it,
coverage was good a lot of the time.
he was like just the way it all went down and what he was trying to do. Like he was a lot like Diaco. Now he wasn't as weird. He didn't wear as many Argyle sweaters or black suits, but like that's basically, he was trying to change things up for what it has been.
Right.
And like, I think was probably a decent coach and had an idea of sort of what he kind of wanted to do. But then by the end, it was, am I going to be given enough time, and do I have the players to actually do this right now?
So I think that he was dealt a bad hand.
He definitely was.
And then like made it worse, if that makes sense. Like he continued to play his bad hand. I don't know how you mitigate it. And this is a really bad example, so I'm just going to get out of it now. But he wasn't able to mitigate some of the areas where they struggled. And I don't know that he could have.
They just doubled and tripled down on and that's what Diaco did.
Right. And he was, again, their coverage, and this is part of it with Addison Williams, like they were really good last year on the back end for most of the season. Like go back to that USC game, that offense, which was really good against other teams, struggled immensely against Nebraska's non-pass rush and largely just the deceptive coverages that they put together.
Yeah.
But that alone was not able to save that team.
And then it's not very difficult for me to make the case about the running backs potentially being a liability this year.
I think there's three clear potential liabilities.
Running back, defensive line, and
I think special teams borders between curiosity and liability. I think liability only if you think like there's a big drop off from the Mike Eckler run of things.
Yeah.
So if you go running backs, I'll talk defensive line.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
That's
good. You went all offense, I go all defense. This works.
I could have done any of their mirror positions as well, but we basically covered everything.
Yeah.
The only group that we didn't talk about was wide receivers, who I like,
and quarterbacks. I
could have done
both
confident
quarterbacks
in
and
wide
wide receivers
receivers.
would have been curiosities for me.
I would have done wide receiver confident.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they have all the talent. We haven't seen it put together and actually have success. And so part of it is like it's hard for me to.
It's true. I am always confident in the wide receivers.
Yeah. Oh,
except for when they don't have good
I
wide
don't
receivers.
know that I could have been more confident in a group in 2024 than those wide receivers with freshman Dylan Raiola coming in, the way the UTEP game started, and then the rest of the season. It's just
Banks in there.
It's like, okay, but I thought Jalen Lloyd could be X and Malachi Coleman could be Y, and that Banks and Naylor would do this and that, and none of it. None of it.
Isaiah
They
Nair
couldn't beat man coverage.
missing that pass against Iowa still haunts people.
Illinois.
Iowa.
Oh, Nair. Oh,
terrible. That was not fun.
now he's a Packer.
They're terrible.
Did you know that, Joey?
Agreed. They are terrible.
He's not going to do anything.
They're
You'll
terrible.
See him on preseason.
I was watching that play against Iowa, and I was like,
I can't believe it.
I could not believe it. So running backs, not very difficult. They are losing a 1,500-yard rusher from last year. You don't know who your top guy is going to be. One of them was recently arrested, although charges were dropped. And you got a flyer from a guy who, mysteriously transferred from a good program, was going to end up at a junior college program, and maybe he's going to be depended on this year. It's just a wide open deal. Way too wide open for my liking. There's almost no returning production at the position, and I don't know what the talent level is on any of them. So it's just what I don't know. Right. And so it's not very hard for me to paint the case that could be a liability.
Yeah, and with the defensive line, it's as simple as these guys weren't particularly good last year. You went out and you have Jashir Whittington and you have Owen Staubmeyer, and those are your kind of your biggest differences. So what you're really hoping for is internal development, which is something we haven't seen enough of with a Matt Rule program so far.
Like Riley Van Poppel.
We don't have a lot of examples of this guy was this, and then by his third year, he was an all-conference level player.
We've seen a lot of freshman pop, though.
But then they don't get better.
So I don't know why I went like that. Admittedly, like Principal left.
Willis McGahee.
But yes,
McGahee pops.
He
Van Poppel pops.
Lenhart pops. Yeah. Pet Shock is the newest one last year. What's year 2 look like for him?
But I will say, if you're making the case for the defensive line, and this is also part of the case of why I'm excited about the defense, if Corey Thomas is able...
Corey Brown.
Yes.
Where's our board with all the coaches?
Yeah, I used to be able to look at that every time I was getting confused by who the...
I think it's Corey Brown.
That sounds right. We're going to go with you on that. Corey Brown, if he's able to get better performances out of guys that have talent, like I believe...
It's Corey Brown.
I believe in the talent of Riley Van Poppel. I believe in the talent of Williams Winery. I believe in the talent of Cade Petchock. Like, they have talent. Can he get better performances out of them? Yep. Can he get... stronger performances? Can they get Jashir Whittington winning one-on-ones, which is Michael Severe's dream scenario?
I will say this about that spot. I think they had a bad coach last year.
Every single thing I have heard, both on the record, off the record, deep background, don't tell anyone this, all of it points to horrendous hire, horrendous fit. Coaches didn't get along. Bad. And so the defensive line wore the brunt of it.
And then they had to go out and do it again. And so,
and they didn't get the guy they wanted. That's so some of it for me is like, you screwed up the first time, you didn't get who you wanted. And the second time, you still didn't get who you wanted. You settled for a guy that coached with your defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing because you have familiarity there.
At least it probably won't be contentious or anything like that. Yeah.
Did not sound good last year in defensive meetings. We'll put it that way.
There you go. If you guys have any thoughts on that, let us know. 402-951-1620. You can also tweet at us at Happer and Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. This is a great question for our dear friend, Mitch Sherman, who will join us next on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, and now a friend. We're joined now in the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? I'm doing well.
Good. We were just we found our way to talk about like position groups. It wasn't like a full position group preview. We split it up this way. One we're confident in, one we're curious about, one we think is a liability. And we sort of split them into those categories.
A new format. I like it.
That's right. It's a repackaged version of the same, prize.
We're working hard here, Mitch.
We are doing the things that we do. Is there anything that sticks out to you in any of those categories? Like you feel passionate, you could make a great passionate case for any position group in either the confident or the liability category or the curious category, I suppose, as well.
I mean, I could probably find the reason to talk myself into categorizing, finding categories for finding position groups for all three of those categories.
Right.
The thing that just like comes right into my head when you mention that is I'm confident in the offensive line. And I think that's kind of a relative type of confidence in comparison to the last few years. I feel better about this offensive line for numerous reasons than I have probably. It's been a while. It's hard for me to even pinpoint and say it was year X the last time I felt the way that I do about the Nebraska offensive line right now. And a big part of that is Jeep Wade. I just think Nebraska's in a spot now where it has an offensive line coach who's going to be able to specialize, not just him, but the who he has helping him coach the offensive line. I think that the offensive coaching staff, Dana Holgerson included, is in a position where they can coach up an offensive tackle, an offensive guard, or a center. And they have players in all of those positions who have the ability to be coached up. And it's been a while since I've thought that going into a season or at any point in a season. There's always been something in the way of that. Like they were deficient in the coaching or the talent at one or two of those spots on the offensive line. They were too injury prone. They were too thin, whatever it might be. They didn't have enough talent. And it's not like they have the perfect group. It's not like this every question has been answered, but I'm way more confident up front on offense than I have been in several years.
So with that being said, where would you go with your group that you're curious about? Because I think this is the largest of the categories, the most kind of position groups probably fit in here.
I'm curious about the running backs. How about that?
Okay.
The topic du jour is what we've been discussing for several days. I am curious about this latest addition that Nebraska has made with Tyke Hayes in that position group. Curious about Mekhi Nelson and what's his state of mind, what's his status when camp opens here in a couple of weeks. I want to see if Isaiah Mosey is added to the repertoire that he showed. I think he was an improved back in the spring. I mean, the spring wasn't very far after the season. I think that was maybe one of the downfalls of having spring in February was there wasn't really an opportunity for those players to change themselves physically a whole lot from the time that we saw them in the bowl season until spring. But there's been a lot of time since then. Like since the spring game ended, it's been 2 or 3 times as long as the gap between the bowl game and the start of spring practice now. So it would stand to think that there might be some changes. And Mosey, because he's new to that position, relatively new to that position, and young in the program and has a high ceiling with his talent, he might be one of the guys that if you go out there in the first week of camp, you might say, wow, he's, that's not what I expected. That's a different player. So I'm curious about him. There's a lot that I'm curious about, like how is EJ Barthel going to structure the playing time for that group? Are they planning on using 2 or 3 and just kind of who slots into all those spots?
All right, Mitch. So
we mentioned Jamal Rule. I'm curious about him too.
We did all these position groups, and in our conversation and mine and Schaefer's too, nobody mentioned anything about any quarterbacks. All right. And so today is going to be a
Yeah.
quarterback day because on The Athletic right now is their annual tiers list ranking every
Yeah.
projected starter 1 through 138. Here's what people need to know. Anthony Calandria, Nebraska's quarterback, is in tier 4, quarterback 39. He is surrounded by guys like Avery Johnson from Kansas State, like Caton Hauser from Illinois, DJ Lagway from Baylor, like a bunch of different guys inside of that category. And it's a large tier. It's basically the majority of the rest of the power conference teams quarterbacks that aren't like top 25 teams. Mitch, where does that land for you as far, like, I feel like that might be a little bit lower on Calandria than some folks are sort of thinking about right now.
Yeah. I remember last year just how much hype there was, or how much conversation there was around this list when it came out, and where Dylan Raiola was. And if I remember right, it was somewhere in that similar spot, somewhere in the 30s.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of hand wringing and I think that's because he was like the focus of everything with Nebraska. Not everything, but every conversation about Nebraska football started with Dylan Raiola. And here we are having a conversation about Nebraska football 1 year later, and you almost forget to bring up the quarterback spot. And if people,
by the way, Mitch,
doesn't really matter
he was number 40 behind Mark Gronowski.
Okay, yeah, that was a big conversation topic, that they ranked him behind Mark Gronowski. Over the course of the season, that proved, well, by the end of the year, Gronowski was doing good things. So
yeah,
I don't know. It would be interesting to do an autopsy on that from a year ago and say, were we wrong for having, throwing the hands up in the air about Dylan Raiola being ranked below or ahead of, Gronowski made it through the season. It's not necessarily Dylan's fault that he got hurt on November 1st. But anyway, my point being that there was so much conversation about this a year ago, whether it was right or wrong or misguided or right on track. And now it's like an afterthought. It's not that big of a deal around here. It's a big deal nationally. Quarterbacks are still just as important as they were a year ago. But we're not obsessing over it. I think that's probably good. Like that's my number one takeaway. I don't have any issues with Anthony Calandria, coming back to the Power Four after a year in the Mountain West and putting him at 39. Like that seems reasonable. It's funny also, like from a personal standpoint on this. A year ago when this list was being put together, Sam Kahn, my coworker from The Athletic who does this, like we had in-depth conversations about Dylan, and I saw Sam last week, and we hardly talked about it. Like I think he maybe mentioned Calandria to me in passing, and there was no we weren't overthinking like where should the Nebraska quarterback be among everybody else. And I honestly, like, maybe it's an overreaction to the past couple of years, but I feel like that's a healthier place for Nebraska to be.
Which is funny because I mean, you can make the case very easily that he's going to be more. I mean, he's going to be. I don't know about more impactful, whatever, but like his added element of the run game in his game makes him more of a focal point and a centerpiece of Nebraska's offense than what Dylan Raiola was last year.
Yep. I mean, if you were to project the numbers on day one of camp for what Calandria is going to account for within the Nebraska offense, and in comparison to what you would have projected a year ago for Raiola, I think you probably would come up with something bigger for Calandria.
Definitely.
But it's just the attitude about it, and like Calandria. And again, this is not a commentary on Dylan, but Calandria doesn't like command the kind of attention that Raiola did, and some of that is just because of what they were before they got to Nebraska, and it just shows you, how these external factors impact expectations and then results too. Because I think there's all kinds of pressure on the play caller and the head coach and the quarterback himself and the quarterback coach just because of what people think and what the offense is supposed to look like and what the role of the quarterback is supposed to be. And you end up sometimes like forcing a square peg into a round hole. And I think this year I say healthy because it doesn't have to look a certain way. I don't think like Calandria is more, this is his third school. He's more just kind of like there's there's a belief that he's here for the right reason. Like, yeah, he's making money, but like he's here to like find a place where he can be successful and like like prove that he's a good Power 4 quarterback. And I don't know, it just seems more right. The whole conversation about the quarterback just seems more beneficial to the program than what it has for the last 3 years.
Mitch, can you think of a time where the quarterback wasn't like the focal point of almost everything with Nebraska football? Because it's really hard for me to even, it'd have to be like Zach Lee in 2009, because like
back,
every other quarterback I can think of, you're talking about a freshman or a redshirt freshman, Taylor Martinez, Adrian Martinez, Tommy Armstrong, even Tanner Lee. There was a lot of buzz of it. Like, is there something to this where
it might be
just being the Nebraska quarterback alone always makes it a topic of conversation?
It might be one of those guys. I mean, it's not like it's not like we've ignored Calandria. I mean, he was a curiosity for sure in the spring, and he talked to the media. Some of it is like he's pretty unassuming and is not out there, like he's not posting on social media. You're not like, where's Anthony Calandria this week? Where's it? I think he did something with the wide receivers and tight ends, and where he took them somewhere, kind of like what we've seen with Dylan and in past years, but it just didn't get as much. It didn't get as much publicity. It's kind of hard to like quantify exactly why this is, but it doesn't seem like there's an obsession with him in the way that there has been with a lot of quarterbacks who've come through Nebraska. I would say that if you're looking for a comparison over the last 10 to 15 years, it's probably one of those quarterbacks who came in as a transfer, like a Casey Thompson or Tanner Lee. There absolutely was interest, and we were curious, but I don't know that in either of those cases it was like the focal point of all conversations like we've had with several others.
Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. You can check out that list at theathletic.com. We'll certainly talk about it a little bit as we go on throughout the show as well. Mitch, thanks as always. Talk to you later.
Thanks.
Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Anthony Calandria, number 39 in Tier 4, which includes the description is some of the stars of tomorrow, like inexperienced quarterbacks who believe in, but who coaches believe in, but lack a proven resume. They're also veterans who are looking to redeem themselves. And I think this is where Calandria comes in. Journeymen looking to make the most of their last stops.
One of the kind of big takeaways I have of looking through this, there's a lot of really interesting college quarterbacks right now.
Yeah.
Like you get all the way to 22, you get to Devin Dampier.
Looking at
just before him is Malik Washington.
Looking at last year is fascinating because the two guys that everybody thought were the best two guys kind of stunk.
Who?
Klubnik.
Yep.
Nussmeier.
Yep. They were 1-2.
1-2. And
I remember last year.
Lenora Sellers had a down year.
Yeah.
And John Mateer wasn't as good as everybody thought he was going to be.
I remember last year.
And Lagway sucked. And Aller sucked. All the top 6 sucked.
Yeah. I remember last year's list thinking the opposite of how I feel now, where it's like number 1 is Chambliss. Number 2 is Moore. Number 3 is Carr. Number 4 is Mensa. Number 5 is Sand. He's boring. Number 6 is Messmaker. Number 7 is Arch Manning, who's too high, but whatever. Sam Levitt. Then it's Mayava. Then it's Fifita. There's Gunnar Stockton.
So you know what's funny about Arch Manning? Like he was number 10 on last year's list. That was way too high.
Yep.
But it's not like he was bad, right? He sort of got there by default.
He took advantage of the worst teams they played to put up his numbers. He threw for 3,000 yards.
Like
he threw for 26
touchdowns.
touchdowns.
Good college quarterback.
Yeah.
I'd want him to be my quarterback. But like, is he a top 10 quarterback? I don't know. But then you look at the names around him, like he's not that much. I mean, he's not that much worse than anybody else around him.
Yeah, I mean, I look at like tier 2. There's a few guys I would take over him, but there's guys that I would definitely take him above. Like I would take him over Josh Hoover. I would take him over Marcel Reed. I would take him over Kevin Jennings. I think John Mateer is not that good, but we'll have an opportunity to talk about John Mateer in free balling. So
excellent. Can't wait. All right. Let's take a quick break here. We'll come back. Got a couple things I want to get to as we finish out the hour. Then we'll free ball. Then we'll get to Jacob Padilla. All to come on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. One thing that came out of SEC Media Days that I did not expect yesterday is basically the announcement or the reminder that Brent Venables is the oldest coach in the SEC. He's 55 years old, which is not old for coaches.
Not at all.
I mean, at least how I know college football.
We
it's not
found
old
at
for
least
coaches.
4, 5, maybe 6 older without going through the entirety of the Big
At least a
Ten.
handful of coaches who are older in the Big Ten. The Big Ten skews way older. Obviously, old Mr. Ferentz helps that out a little bit, who is 71.
We didn't check Matt Campbell. How old do we think Matt Campbell is?
52.
No.
48.
Closer. He's 46.
That was my second guess.
So he's the third youngest then?
And PJ Fleck's 45.
Okay, so fourth youngest. So Fleck and then
Braun and Lanning are
Dan Lann is
Yeah.
the youngest.
Yep.
And he might be one of the most accomplished.
Oh, I never even thought about checking Bob Chesney.
Oh, yeah. How is Dr. Bob?
Bob Chesney is 48.
48.
And Lincoln Riley and his dry brisket are 42.
Just something that I thought was
Did we
interesting.
check how old Ryan Day is?
I was guessing 40s.
And is just for men.
I would think
beard.
51.
Joey says 51, 47.
Okay.
Debo writes in, this is what we're going to get to anyway. He says, okay, I think we've had enough SEC Media Days talk. Surely there are more local sports to discuss. I went to Creighton basketball practice yesterday. Walked around there, ever-changing campus, and sweated my butt off for about 15 minutes.
I have only been on Creighton's campus once in my entire
It's
life.
lovely. It truly is.
For a wedding in 2020. So it was like nobody was there.
Well, it's kind of looks like that in July too.
Okay. All right.
It's
So it'll feel very similar if I go with you to a practice sometime.
Yeah, there's a buzz, but you got to wait until like late August for that to come back around. So it was nice. I did physically see the presence of the French guy, Mark, who was there yesterday. But I think he's going back home briefly and then coming back, and then we'll join. We'll join once they start actual practices, which is good. A lot of new people
On
at
a
this
scale
basketball
from
practice.
Yvonne Drago to Tony Parker, where's he going to fall?
I don't know. I didn't see him play basketball.
Okay.
He wasn't playing basketball. He was just sitting there.
Sounds like you're thinking more Tony Parker.
Definitely. Yeah. Like the best version of a French
Can he
basketball player you
dribble?
could think of. Absolutely. I haven't seen him dribble, but I'm sure he can.
Okay. All right.
Any questions, thoughts?
Yeah, I
concerns?
have lots of questions.
Okay, great.
Of the newcomers, who caught your eye?
Well, it's hard to not have people catch your eye, given that almost everyone
They're all
is.
new, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of newcomers.
Other than your guys, Jason Green and Hudson Clear.
I think
Jackson McAndrew.
Cottrell Harmon is going to be very good one
That's
day.
a freshman, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potential point guard.
Yes.
Okay.
It's gonna take some time probably, and they'll hopefully they can, they have a lot of guards, so they'll be able to sort of ease him in, I think, a little bit this year. But you could see that he's, really talented. Right off the bat. I am interested in this, I think we'll end up talking about this with Nebraska too. They got the Gorville from San Diego State, and Creighton's got a couple of guys who it appears like can really, really hound you defensively. And BJ Davis.
Well, yeah, they come out of that.
Is one of them.
San Diego State.
And so,
system.
that was my biggest sort of takeaway. It's hard to have takeaways from a July workout, but that was my biggest thought as I was watching it. They're going to really try and guard people. It's just, I know that sounds sort of rudimentary, but it's just not what they've really done.
Novel in concept.
Right. They have schemed on defense for as long as we can remember now. And
they funneled the Kalkbrenner.
exactly.
Basically.
And now they are trying to really play defense.
Yeah.
They're think about Oklahoma in football a couple years ago, going from Lincoln Riley to Brent Venables, right? I don't think they're going to become a defensive oriented team,
Sure.
but they're really going to play defense. And so in order to do that, you need to have guys who can guard, and everybody's got to know their responsibilities still as well. And so I'm just fascinated to see where all that lands. It's really, really early. Not everybody gets it yet, but that's what they're going to do. and they're gonna try and have some teeth to it. And so I think they have a couple guys in the roster who can really push some people, especially on the perimeter. Which is good.
Now that you've gone over to a practice, are you willing to amend your 0 minutes for Wesley Rosa?
I'm not.
Okay.
He is very
large.
He is very large, though.
That is also what I have heard.
He is incredibly large.
Yeah.
Like, and he's got like the large
features.
He's got a
too.
large face.
Yeah, no, it's a large head, large hands,
Yeah.
large human.
Yeah. So I'm not willing.
Probably not large minute share.
Probably not. Because I still think ultimately your best option at the backup 5 is Jason Green.
I don't know.
But
what did I say? 4 minutes a game?
Yeah, you have couched it a couple times, but you're still higher than I
would
am.
never.
All right, we'll take a break here and come back. If you guys have any questions, let us know. 402-951-1620. Back, and we're free balling next on 1620 The Zone.
balling now, I'm free balling now, I'm
It's time for Free Balling, where the producer reads questions on things happening in the world of sports. Connor and Mike will have the answers.
No! Accountability!
Don't worry. I'll take care of it later. A couple of tweets here from Sam on Creighton basketball. I'm feeling optimistic that we could be happy with the full expectations reset and be a bubble team. Does feel like having a center again, and McAndrew is bigger than people are factoring in. He's actually physically bigger than.
Yeah, I meant to
you'll
ask
remember
about him too. He was on my list of questions.
And then Sam also writes, maybe Pat Kelsey scouted this year's team in that tournament game. Maybe, and forgot that Ryan Kalkbrenner existed. Also from the 402, look at how interested Mike is with these Blue Jays. Your eyes will be glowing in your Jason Green jersey.
I will not be wearing a Jason Green jersey. I will be sitting in section 220 at some
Jason Green!
We're going to make it happen.
All right. Section
Look at the
221.
non-conference.
I got a request the other day in, I can't remember where I was. It was out in public somewhere. And someone came up to me and was like, oh, it was at the Storm Chasers game. And they're like, hey, for Upper Bowl night, I need you to come to 213 this year. So I'm getting requests all over the place. The Upper Bowls, they want an appearance.
I'll be hanging
Will you
around over
honor
there.
the requests?
I will. Of course I will. I love the Upper Bowl Appreciation Night. Maybe we'll do 2 of them this year. Who knows?
Maybe I'll sit in the Upper Bowl for December 12th game against Gonzaga.
Ooh, that could be fun.
I did the last time they were here.
That could be fun.
I went to that game. It was great.
That'll be a fun day for the two of us to be at the game. We'll go heckle Connor as he does his little.
Are you
live
going
report.
as well, Joey?
I should be back in Omaha by then.
Joey goes to games now because he
Yeah.
doesn't have to produce
Will
overtime.
you get tickets, or do you just have ways of finding tickets?
Good question. Good luck with that, Dan.
You do need to have a ticket to get into.
Yes,
the game.
I do.
Unfortunately,
I do.
yes.
I am well aware.
All right, Joey, what do we got today?
All right, New York Giants running back Cam Skadaboo narrowly avoided injury on a failed flip attempt during Fanatics Fest. Skadaboo laughed off the criticism and said he's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Why does this feel like it ends poorly for the Giants?
Between Skadaboo and Jackson Dart,
yeah,
it seems like there's a less than 20% chance that both are healthy in week 18.
They have this sort of magnetism about them.
Oh, yeah,
where they're super
100%.
exciting.
Yeah.
But I also don't know if they're good enough for it to be good, number one. And then number two, it could something like this could happen where he tries to do a backflip fresh off of ankle surgery and breaks his leg again or something like that. Now, he's crazy. He's an insane person.
He was too long. I didn't include it, but he had a quote about people calling him brain dead. And he's like, if I'm brain dead, so be it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I want.
He is on the record many times over saying stuff like that. He does not care about his own physical well-being at all. So good luck with that. Yeah.
Good luck with that, Cam.
Good luck with that. But yeah, I just don't know. Ultimately, I don't know if they're going to be good because I don't know if they're any
right.
Can you build a team around those guys? With that being said, they're very fun to watch.
Their watchability score is high.
Way up there.
It's high.
Did you guys see? Have you heard of this? Pittsburgh Steelers QB Aaron Rodgers, who's known for keeping his distance from his family, has recently posted pictures with his immediate family on his Instagram. Schaefer, I noticed one of your favorite QBs is missing on that tier list. You definitely have thoughts on Aaron Rodgers reuniting with his family after a long sabbatical.
I think life is too short to have that kind of fracture within your family, and genuinely wish the Rodgers well should they have found themselves back.
You got to be happy for them.
So what happened? Why were they mad at each other?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I need some Aaron Rodgers lore.
There's definitely online speculation about all of it. I have no idea. It seems like he had a philosophical disagreement with his family over a number of things, and then they just sort of had a long fracture.
All right. Now, just keep in mind, this is the AI overview. NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers was estranged from his family for over a decade due to clashing religious beliefs, differing value systems, and the pressures of his fame. There's a lot of different sources from this. The burden of fame, differing value systems, public fallout, things of that. Where they didn't. I don't know. I have no idea what happened here, but I'm glad they're. I
feel like
back.
I've read stuff, and then I'm just like, I don't even want to wait.
They're doing Instagrams together now.
Good for them.
Which is nice.
Now, when he starts a reality TV show,
Aaron Rodgers had a great chance. Had a great chance had he have gone a different direction with his life and his career. He had a great chance to be one of the most likable guys in sports. And I know that it's not a chance for you because you can't. He
was always this guy. People ignored it for a long time.
He had a chance, and he went the wrong direction. He took the wrong interstate.
He would have needed to change at like 18 to not be who he ended up being. He was always that guy. Always. It's just it didn't get discussed.
We didn't know him until he was
right.
Yeah, and then it could have gone a different direction, but it didn't because he does have this like. He's cool. Like he has the ability to be cool. He has this natural sort of, he has an aura, right? But like
Definitely
he chose to do weird things with it.
Because he's weird. Again,
that's possible.
It was never going to happen in the way that you built him because of how he was portrayed to you.
What if he would have
acted? Then behind the scenes, a teammate shows up in the locker room and the first thing he says to him is, 9/11 was an inside job.
See, I just feel like he got
Chance?
You know what do they say at the end of Sandlot?
Where it wasn't even related to Chance.
The
That's
guy,
Sean Kaiser.
What do they say about the guy on Sandlot that got really into the 60s?
Bertram got really into the 60s and no one saw him again.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers just read a couple too many things on Reddit. Like
he does his own research.
He does have a book club on the Pat McAfee show a long time ago.
It didn't have to be this way, or he could have acted not weird for the last 15 years.
Well, I think he's inherently weird and then made himself like he leaned into the bit.
Yeah.
Even harder. And then at some point, the bit just became his actual life.
He did.
And, you know, I don't have any problem with it. It exposes what most of us had thought, not most, but some of us had felt for a long time.
Sam writes in, will the burden of fame, aka request to go to every 200 level section, change Happer? Maybe.
It could.
Maybe you'll see an Instagram post with me and the people in section 220 after the season.
Someone on the stream says Aaron isn't likable. News to me. The dude doesn't really talk much outside of X's and O's and player.
Okay, that's sarcastic.
Oh, you must not have owned a television or anything in the last 20 years.
That has to be a sarcastic joke.
There's no way.
That's
not
the only thing he talks about. Things that aren't football.
100%.
Speaking of weird, apparently slippers are a big deal in the NFL with guys like Javonte Jean-Baptiste. Remember him? Wearing grizzly bear claws. Brian Thomas Jr. has Incredible Hulk slippers, and Panthers, Connor, your Panthers rookie, Nick Scorton, paid $900 for Mari slippers he plans to wear on Victory Monday. Do Omaha's most fashionable sports radio hosts wear slippers?
No.
We know a guy that wears Crocs, but slippers?
No, I didn't know about this slippers trend.
So incredible story on ESPN. I love sometimes you find these like deep dives about like things that are trendy in the NFL. Foot care, obviously really big in a league like that. There are some dudes who, as soon as they are off the field, they are going into the softest shoes that they can find, and they are paying thousands of dollars a year.
It does follow with whatever you weirdos, Gen Z, have an obsession with feet. Okay. They do. They love feet. There's a whole the whole generation.
Slippers, like I have house slippers or whatever.
The whole generation has a foot fetish.
I did not know this.
It's crazy. They're selling feet pics on the internet.
Oh man,
there's all sorts of stuff. They're
so
weird.
Our Matt McMaster has bought feet pics before.
I don't.
Now
but
I'm
I think
I'm worried he sold some to pay for beer in college.
I don't think that has happened. Maybe. I don't know. But I know his generation has weird things with feet.
I don't want to shame here. People can be
weird.
themselves.
I've never got it. I don't get it.
Never. I don't understand remotely.
I don't know how it's possible.
Interest in that at all.
I don't know how it's possible. Stibbs writes in, people have loved feet for centuries, Connor. That is true. Feet have existed for a long time.
Sure.
Is there anything else, or is that
got a couple more?
All right, perfect.
Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer told anyone who asked Monday that his hand is great. speaking of body parts, and he's back to throwing and playing how he wants after breaking it early last season. Prior to the injury, material was good for the Sooners. Are you buying that quarterback can get back to that level during the SEC play and fairly pedestrian 2025 season?
Average around 300 yards passing and like 50 yards rushing prior to the injury. But they also, other than Michigan, it wasn't like they played a ton of great teams at that point in time. The rest of SEC play, he was like around 200 yards passing, except when they played LSU and he threw for a bunch of yards.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a little weird. Like, I think mostly it's caught up in this for me. And I always talk about this. I talk about it a lot with CJ Stroud. Quarterbacks who are just playing in defensive centric programs and defensive centric teams. It's usually pretty choppy for those guys but ultimately they make enough plays, but the stats don't look good. And I think he's enough of a playmaker where it's good for Oklahoma this year. Are the stats going to look good? I don't know. All I do know is I saw him at the College World Series, and your boy is jacked.
Yeah. Kind of have to be.
He is.
To survive the beating you take when you're like, he's getting hit on a lot of plays.
He's not tall. He's not a tall guy.
He's like 6, right?
Yeah, he's like he's stocky.
Yeah. Taller than 5'9" Matt.
Definitely.
But probably shorter than me.
He's jacked.
Yeah. I mean, definitely built.
For sure.
Definitely built. I don't think he's that good, but I think he's like weirdly plucky, and so they kind of need that because their offense sucks. They are a bad offensive team, or they were last year.
That's right, because they're a defensive first program. They just are. Do we have
All right,
anything else?
Last question.
All right.
Cleveland hammered 6 home runs off Joe Ryan, and it brought a slight smile to Schaefer's face.
I liked it.
What sport is your favorite to see your team have a blowout win?
Yeah, across the sports, like what blowout in a sport do you think you enjoy the most? Is it baseball when you're just hammering a bunch of home runs?
Probably
football if you're putting up like
that's
probably
70 Packers Bears first half came up to me for a special someone who's listening right now.
It's probably football because it's so thorough, because it lasts so long.
I'm sure it's not basketball for you though.
Basketball is so like the run. Well, I mean,
There's like a 35-4 run.
Creighton's had so many of those, and I've loved them all. They've been so fantastic.
The Villanova game,
but then the other team ends up scoring. Like Villanova scored a lot in the second half of that game after it was 40-2 or whatever it was out of the start. And, so it just like, it kind of goes away a little bit. Like best case scenario, you win 95-55 or something like that. And that's great. It's a lot of fun. But the best part is when you're up 26-1 on Georgetown. Like that, those are the best.
Yeah.
Or 38-8 on Nebraska.
The weird looking scoreboard is great. That's why baseball, if a team gets to like 20 some runs and the other team has like 2 and then they have the old timey scoreboard where it goes across for every frame. Love it.
The Royals lost 19-2 on Sunday. So that felt pretty thorough.
It seemed thorough.
17.
Thorough.
Tyler Tolbert has pitched like 14 times this year.
He only has like 60 at bats. He's pitched 14 times.
I don't know what the actual number is, but he has pitched a lot.
No, he's a two-way player.
He's not. But he has a better ERA recently than like Noah Cameron, which is a different thing. All right. A lot of people in the comments talking about Aaron Rodgers vaccination preferences. Not what we were talking about, guys.
Nope.
Now we were talking about get
if
a
that's
wife.
what you think the only thing about it is, and you've willfully just ignored.
COVID was a long time ago. It's time to get over it. We'll take a break and we'll be back with Jacob Padilla next on 1620 The Zone.
Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go.
Jacob Padilla, Herd at Sports, your source for Creighton hoops and Packers banter. Jacob Padilla on Happer and Schaefer, 1620, The Zone.
All right, we're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Jacob Padilla from Herd at Sports. Jacob, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing all right.
Welcome back from AAU season. It's over. How was the longest drive ever from Texas?
Well, I have had to drive to and from Philadelphia
For the
back in
NCAA tournament?
college.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although that I wasn't by myself for that one. We took turns, so that was a little easier from that sense. But yeah, it wasn't, honestly, it wasn't too bad. Like, just took a couple of stops to get gas and basically broke it up into like 3-4 hour drives. So wasn't terrible, but yeah, it's always, that's a tough one, especially at the end of the season, and to kind of look up and realize, oh, I got 11 and a half hours to drive now.
Where were you coming back from?
Bryan, Texas.
Okay.
Which is like basically College Station. So
There's got to be some Buc-ee's around there, right?
Just like north of Houston, then, basically.
yeah. So yeah, what do you ask, Connor?
There's got to be some Buc-ee's around there, right?
Yeah, I saw some signs for them.
You didn't do it?
You would have seen it.
I just stopped at a QT because I hit the road. I didn't fill up before I left. So got some distance before I needed to stop and fill up.
I know you're a big fast food connoisseur. Did you hit Whataburger when you were down there in Texas? Was there anything that you like tried to make sure that you hit on this road trip back, or was it just straight focused on getting back to Omaha?
Actually, no, I did get Whataburger on the way back. That was kind of lunch. I've had it a couple times. It's you get good bang for your buck with that one. The size on that burger is kind of separates itself from a lot of the others. But that was kind of the only fast food really. I went to an Italian restaurant down there on Friday, second year in a row. I went there last year. It was pretty good. Fratello, it's called. So got a couple local places in while I was down there.
We have a question on the stream for you. They want to know, how many days have you not been at a live basketball game in the year of 2026? They say you're an absolute machine.
I agree.
I also agree, for the record.
Yeah, that math is hard to do. I mean, we've got kind of a break now for a while before we get to live basketball again. So, I mean, we got volleyball season coming up, so that'll kind of fill the time. But yeah, there's a lot of days in there between college, high school, AAU to fill in. So
you think more than 125?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, like, what about a gym period? Like, how close are we to like 90% on days in a gym period?
I've never really thought about it. It's kind of hard to put into context. I mean, you throw in practices if you count that as a gym. That adds some extra days during the week, 1 to 2, and then 3 to 4 for a weekend during the spring and summer. I mean, AU's like eight weekends or so. I think we had this year. So I don't know. It's a lot. I'll just put it that way.
Did a singular day pass? There's been 202 days since the start of the year. Did a singular day pass where you didn't think about basketball?
No way.
I mean, it's hard, just like with Twitter, and there's always going to be something popping up there.
It's not that hard. You could have been at a lake. You could have been somewhere. You could have like had a bunch of errands you had to do. I'm sure there had to have been one day. No way. Happer says no.
Maybe. like I said, it's kind of always there, always reminder between what I'm doing or just if I happen to scroll, there's going to be, like with the amount of people I follow, there's going to be at least one tweet a day talking about basketball and that'll kind of, I guess, put that into my head. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to avoid just with kind of what I surround myself with and what I see on a daily basis. But yeah, I don't think about it all the time. It just happens to pop up.
All right. So speaking of being into gym, maybe there's a basketball practice in your future. And let's talk about that team. I went and saw them a little bit yesterday, Creighton, and I found myself thinking during the entire practice, how, first of all, how different it was given that all the different people are in there. That's an adjustment that, and then, Mac not being at the center focus of things and just the way sort of Huss coaches and you get through all that stuff. And then I started thinking about the way that they're going to play. And you obviously don't really know that yet because it's July and you don't have to know it yet. You don't have a due date on that until you get into the season a little bit. With their personnel, you've seen it a couple times now in the early stages of it. What does it look like this group is capable of to you in terms of what they're going to want to do and how they're going to want to get the things they want to get done?
Yeah, no, I mean, you kind of just look at the roster and the pieces Huss and Co have added. It kind of just follows along with exactly what he told us at his introductory press conference, which is good. That means there's a cohesive plan that they were able to execute. Last year, just with kind of some of the recruiting misses over the previous handful of years. I mean, and that's where it gets tough is it is a little bit more difficult to backfill behind a strong class that's going to be there for multiple years because like the path to the immediate significant playing time or early significant playing time at least may not necessarily be there if you're just kind of looking at it as a like talented player coming in and they had some smaller classes in there as well and just they didn't really have any hits that stuck long term out of a few classes in a row. So we got to last season and they just had so much turnover and they had to fill so many holes. And they got some good basketball players, but it just didn't necessarily fit together. Just too much overlap and weaknesses and strengths, and then obviously the bad injury luck on top of that. Things just kind of spiraled last season. This year, you look at it, it isn't just like, oh, they got whatever players they could. They targeted guys to fill specific roles and to be able to allow them to play the way that Huss wants to play. And I mean, they're still going to shoot a lot of threes. You get Wes Enos as big time shooter. You got Jackson McAndrew back. Obviously, guys like Isaac Trout and BJ Davis, not necessarily a high volume shooter, but he's capable. And obviously Austin Swartz, you get back in the mix, another guy that can really light it up. So like I said, the let it fly is still here offensively. There's going to be some different concepts and some different things he emphasizes that he is a fan of or whatever, but you're still going to see somewhat similar play offensively. And then defensively, it's just a complete, just a complete change in mindset. Not necessarily complete overhaul in terminology and concepts and all that, but just much more aggressive. And it was funny. I was there at a practice and saw like Jason Green. And like Huss got on Jason like for not being aggressive enough and being up and pressuring. And it's like, hey, you got to forget like everything that you learned previously.
Totally.
And kind of flip that switch, which is just kind of interesting. Obviously, the avoiding fouling was kind of the number one defensive principle, and it was just all about being in the right spot and being connected as a team or whatever. And now they're much more taking the fight to the other team and trying to make their presence felt and bother teams that way. And then obviously they've got some traps and stuff like that they're working on. So you look at like BJ Davis fits into that just as a point of attack, kind of bulldog type of player to really set that tone Wes Enos is a smart defensive player. He's earned defensive accolades previously at Division II level, so he's not necessarily an all-conference defensive player, but he can fit into a scheme and should know what to do. And then you've got the rim protection. You've got Oswin Narunse, which is a big difference from last year, and he's still kind of figuring things out in terms of where he needs to be and all that, but just kind of the presence that he provides and the athleticism, the shot blocking is something they did not have last year. I think Jason Green is moving better, I think, than he did last year. Looked pretty spry from what I've seen, and obviously he's going to play more 3 and 4. I think there's probably still some 5 in his future, and he's kind of still working a little bit at that spot, but most of his drill work is kind of with the forwards and the wings. So you can just see kind of the pieces coming together that'll allow them to play the way that Huss told us he wants them to play.
So you went through a lot of names there, and I am kind of curious, what is a role that you think Hudson Greer can carve out in his second year at Nebraska at Creighton?
You wish, buddy.
No. Okay, sure. Oh,
second year in the state of Nebraska.
In the state of Nebraska. Thank you. Man, that totally threw me off entirely. Because that's a guy that,
I've done it before.
at times, that was a guy last year there was a lot of enthusiasm for when they decided not to redshirt him. He had, kind of a really nice debut, then sort of disappeared for a little bit. Then he finished his year. I know it wasn't a great game for Creighton, but he finished his year with 15 points against West Virginia. Like what sort of role looks like it could exist for somebody like that in year 2 for him, but first year with Alan Huss in this system?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting thing. Like with him and Jackson McAndrew coming off of the injury, looks pretty good, but we just haven't seen him play live action for a long time. And heck, the last time he did play, he was a shell of himself just because of the foot injury. So you've got both those guys kind of coming into the mix as kind of high upside talent, kind of wild cards that like, hey, how good can these guys be this year? I think it'll be another situation. Like he's obviously going to play and hopefully can stay healthy and build some momentum, which is something he never really got to do last year because obviously the redshirt at the start and then came out and played well out there in the tournament. And then got hurt and immediately had to start working his way back from that, missed a big chunk and then got in the mix. And obviously the team was in a tough spot at that point and had a few bright spots, but never kind of got back to what he was out there at the players era. So I think he got some good experience out of that freshman year, but never was able to kind of put together a full stretch where you're able to just play regularly. And I think that'll be kind of the focus for him this year is just go out there and build some momentum, get comfortable, build some chemistry with teammates, go out, build some confidence. I think you'll see him in that kind of 3-4 rotation. You're looking at McAndrew, Jason Green, Greer, and Isaac Trout, kind of 4 guys in that 3-4 spot. So kind of we'll see how the minutes shake out. I think with his athleticism, with his shooting ability, he looks stronger. He's moving pretty well. So there's definitely a high upside there. And we'll kind of see. I don't necessarily know if like a featured starting role is in the cards for him this year just because of the other guys they've got in that mix. But if he can have a strong season and kind of step into the starting lineup next year with really good reps under his belt, I think that would be ideal for the program, just based on obviously Jason Green's going to be gone next year, and I think we all saw what he means and kind of how he's developed as a player over the past year. So that's a guy that should continue to be a big part of what they do, especially with the way he continues to embrace kind of the leadership aspect of this team and be more comfortable in that role. But Hudson's going to have a chance to make a real impact for this team this year, and hopefully he can just have a healthy season and kind of continue developing into the player that Creighton knows he can be.
Quickly, Jacob, before I let you go, any thoughts on Mark Owen Fadzo Dada, who was in town He's in town the next couple days or so, and looks like Nebraska. Or there it is. Creighton could now. You can laugh at me. Looks like Creighton could be in good position with
Started a trend.
the 19-year-old Frenchman.
Yeah, well, it fits, like we were talking about, fits right into kind of that mold of how Huss wants to play. And he talked previously about, hey, if we're going to add somebody, it's going to be a young player with kind of upside and developmental that can be a long-term piece for us. And 19 years old, like he'll have a chance. It's not like a 21-year-old dude coming over here and have a couple seasons or whatever. Like he's got a kind of a full, basically, college career ahead of him if he wants it. And 6'3" with a 6'11" wingspan. That kind of that profile has worked out for Creighton in the past. That's kind of the same dimensions that Kyrie Thomas had, and we saw that the career that he had. Not as kind of more of a point than a wing. I don't think he shoots it quite as well as Kyrie ended up shooting at Creighton, so that'll kind of be the area that he needs to continue to develop. But long, athletic, can really make things happen. Just kind of fits right into that mold of player that Huss is looking forward to be able to play the way that he does. So kind of we'll see how this goes, but it looks like for a get this late in the process for a team that pretty much already had its rotation set in terms of kind of the players they were counting on. Certainly a wild card. It's a guy that they've been working on for a while, kind of quietly behind the scenes, just to try to keep the attention off him, to try to be able to really sell him and add him to this roster coming up next year. But they had two spots to work with, so you might as well take a swing and try to get a player with a lot of talent that you can work with, and that he certainly fits that bill.
I've always said that his team from the French league last year was a lot like Benson, so I totally get the comp for Kyrie for Kyrie Thomas.
Also, it appears they're trying to corner the market on Dadas. So
yes, that's what I said. Lead the nation in Dadas next year if everything goes right.
A lot of Dada.
Thanks, Jacob. Talk to you later.
All right, I guess.
Jacob Padilla from Her Dad Sports covering the Blue Jays. Yeah, he was in town yesterday. It was funny there. I thought this is the best part of Mac was there, and he was walking around afterwards and kind of walked by and realized who Marco and the French guy was sitting right there. And as he was about to walk out of the gym, he kind of stopped and turned around, and he was like, "Hi, Mark. I'm Greg McDermott. I used to be the coach here." And I was like, "Whoa, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen." I was like, "What do you mean you used to be the coach here?" And then he walked out, and everybody else continued to practice. It was so odd. It was.
That has to be weird for him.
It has to be.
You come in, there's a gym, this team that you used to coach and people you used to coach are practicing.
Yeah.
But you are not involved at all.
Right.
And someone that you used to be the head coach.
But he's involved.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
No, like you can just call for the practice to halt and then he can give instruction.
No. No whistle to be seen.
Wonder if he had gotten 18 in.
He gave his whistle to John.
Had he played? Did he get it 18 in before he came to watch practice?
Almost. He looked very tan.
I assume that guy is on the course all the time.
He looked very, very tan.
Presumably at Lost Rail or somewhere over there.
Let's take a break. We'll round things out with some accountability. Coming back on 1620 The Zone.
Hi, everybody. Harry County here.
All right, welcome back. Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Final couple minutes. If you weren't with us during the break, there was a brand new graphic that I very much enjoyed as it relates to this radio show. Oh, there it is.
It's beautiful. Schaefer's going to be at a Creighton basketball game from the Section 200s. And if you want an idea, if you're watching on the YouTube stream, there you go. That's what it's going to look like.
Sideways hat. No context. It's the most nonsensical thing I've ever seen. I don't know why it's so funny to me. What a great graphic.
I hate it.
11 out of 10, Joey. 11 out of 10.
Turn on your microphone, Schaefer.
Accountability, but that's okay that you didn't have it on because you kind of screamed. But that's okay. It happens. Happens to the best of us.
Loud enough for other people to hear it.
Kenneth writes in, Mike Schaefer, noted Creighton honk.
Not true, Kenneth.
And also Stib says it's very South Parky. It is. It definitely is. All right. Before we get out of here, let's get to...
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for accountability.
All right, so both of us have to take accountability for calling Creighton, Nebraska.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be me, and then you followed up on it.
Apologize.
I sort of blame that it's like football season, so you're like prepared to ask your guests about Nebraska football.
Yeah, my mind went to like season preview, and then I was like, all right, there's only one team that we preview around here.
And then I was so surprised that I had done it that I couldn't like recover. I was almost like shell shocked by it. Yeah.
So what would the Section 220 boys think of me if I did that again? They would think not very highly.
Well, they're not going to think very highly when I won't wear the Jason Green. But I am happy to watch a game with them.
The Section 220 boys can be pretty convincing.
If you want, Adam Sandler could potentially lend you his Trey Alexander jersey.
I don't want his Trey Alexander jersey.
Or you can wear this sidewards.
I mean, Adam Sandler must
don't want to
have
wear the hat.
a million jerseys.
He probably has a room just for jerseys.
He has to. And yet he still is wearing the same like 4 pairs of basketball shorts every time he's out in public. What a guy. What a guy. Also, I didn't press the mic on button once. That was my responsibility.
I also accidentally played 2 things at once during
You
the show.
did, Joey. Accountability.
Tough day for us.
I've not been using the mouse to go to break. I've been doing the F9 on the keyboard.
Love it.
Which is nice. Yeah.
Wow. So
I started doing that.
You gave it a little too much of a tickle.
Yeah, I tickled
Pop,
it.
Pop, pop.
But yeah, another thing I'm holding myself accountable for not getting either a potato salad or a pickle spear over at Jimmy John's.
They have potato salad at Jimmy John's?
Yeah, they got.
Wait. You're holding yourself accountable for not doing that?
For not
felt
doing
like
that.
he failed.
Because the last time I had Jimmy John's, I got a potato salad and I loved it.
Okay.
It was delicious.
Hey, by the way, what's this whole deal with you and lemonade?
No, last year I'm surprised you guys forgot that I started drinking lemonade regularly last year. I mean, I don't know
that I ever knew this information.
Well, I know you don't know about it, but like I was surprised Josh totally forgot about it because there was that whole talk with Josh and cheeseburgers, mashed potatoes, and me with lemonade.
Vaguely that rings a bell now.
So you had never had lemonade until 2025?
Well,
Joey said, not for me.
I had sips of it, but not like.
It's one of his not for me things. And then so what happened?
But now it's for you.
What's the recent development with lemonade?
Wow.
No, it's just good to have in the summer. I started
It
enjoying
is good. It's a good, refreshing drink.
What was there anything that changed? You just gave it another crack. What happened?
Well, I went to a fast food place and they did not have the fruit punch I would always drink, so I tried the lemonade instead. And
you were like, hell yeah, this rocks.
Is it the high C fruit punch?
Yeah. That's my go-to.
It's got to be the worst thing that you can drink from a health standpoint, but it's pretty good.
Seriously, high C.
Better than drinking soda.
That's like
the sugar content.
No way, that's true. High C is way worse.
I don't know.
High C anything just has to be loaded with sugar.
High C Hawaiian
I like
punch.
it. This is not a judgment against it. It's just acknowledging like it is basically
it's just better in my point of view.
But it's not actually better for you. It's just better for you in particular.
Yes.
There you go.
It's a better option for me.
That's okay. You could like it more. There's no doubt.
And it's okay to not like California Pizza Kitchen.
It's okay to not like whatever, but keep in mind, you could get made fun of if you decide you don't like things or do like things. Just keep that in mind.
And I don't care.
He does not care.
I see he actually has
It's not
less
Thursday.
than Pop, but it's very close.
Mm.
So it is not factually accurate to say that it has more.
Wow.
They're basically the
Accountability for us. Accountability for us.
Always looking.
All right, that'll do it for us today. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Let's do a crossover with Matt. I have a couple questions after this.